Good morning. Good morning. It is 9:15 in the West Coast. It is 9:15 in the West Coast. Good morning to everybody. Hope everybody is well. Doing my first stream. I'll do another one about 12 for the afternoon game. So I do go back to work today. But anyway, nevertheless, let's get it. Salute to everybody. Salute to the new subscribers. I picked up some more subscribers last night. Salute to everybody. My platform for anybody to come on and just talk about basketball life. You gotta be perspective here. You gotta be respectful, and you gotta be can be in your feelings. You know. First of all, I need to give the Hawks some credit. They won the first game of the series last night. So the series is 1-0. Game 3 will be tonight. Game 3 will be tonight in the Western Conference Finals. The first conference game at home for the Clippers in their history. Oh yeah, shoot, we could cook on it, man. We could cook on it. Shoot, I just want to cook on. What I got to start doing is I got to start emphasizing again. I don't mind everybody chopping it up, talk about whatever, but whatever the topic is talking about, let's just stick. You got to start to sticking to the topic, you know. But like I tell y'all, when I'm away from here, I still want the show to keep moving, keep going. I don't care what you talk about, as long as it's something positive and everything like that. Like I tell y'all, because a lot of my subscribers, they work all night, truck drivers, some doctors, you know what I mean? So shout out to the ones who did subscribe to me last night and everything. So hey, we all good. We gotta get the Hawks credit, man. The Bucks and the Hawks. It's gonna be a very interesting series. I seen a lot of mistakes. I watched the game. I just got done watching the game again this morning. That's why I didn't come on live early like I normally do. But I'm gonna do this one and then I'm gonna do another one at 12. So then I got my afternoon one up. But salute to everybody that's in the chat. I'm gonna drop the link in a minute. We can see and talk about, see what the brothers and sisters are talking about today. Salute to everybody from every coast, every man, every woman. Hope everybody's safe. Everybody's good. No, that is not. That is not the link. It's the one that's drinking. No, that's not the link. It's the second one right here. Hold on 1 second. All right, bro. You better the second job. You say be easy. Be easy. For the ones who want to come in and talk about last night's game, again, the link has been dropped.
Hey, salute T Price. Good morning.
It's good, brother.
Hey, man. Yeah. So, staying on the topic about the games last night. Um, and they talked about it. So I heard you say it on Ticket's channel last night on the panel. And Ticket dropped a video this morning talking about some basically without getting into that coaching, right? And I know James talked about it a lot, and I know a lot of guys don't like talking about the shit because when I first started on Ticket's panel, I used to talk about coaching all the time, and niggas used
Yeah,
to
you did.
coach, that shit don't matter, this and that. And I'm like, nigga, what the fuck? I'm like, nigga, you just can't put on a jersey in any sport and get out on the fucking floor, bro. You need guys. You need a guy to kind of, even if it's not an X's and O's sport like baseball or soccer, where there are some, X's and O's to it, but it's more so about player rotations are more important in those sports because it's like, even if you don't do the whole X's and O's, drawing up plays and shit, you got to rotate players, situations, manage personalities. There's a lot that go into being a coach than just drawing up some fucking plays, right? And we've seen coaches that they can draw plays and they know all of the knowledge and all this kind of shit, but they don't know how to fucking they don't know how to assess situations. These motherfuckers don't know how to utilize talent, can't put out a rotation, how to weather the storm. They blow leads. They don't know how to get the best out of their players. They don't put their players in good positions. So you can know all this fucking knowledge, and I can run 80 million pick and rolls, and I can do off ball screen, Spanish pick and roll, flare screen, pin down, all this other shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I could do a fucking 1-4 flat. I do all these fucking plays, right? But they don't know how to do the other shit that make you a great coach. That's why most of the good coaches, they're elite in multiple areas, man, and that's why I say I've been high on Nate McMillan, man. Nate McMillan is the best coach left in the playoffs, dog. And the Hawks, the people talking about all the Hawks, bro. That's why I get a Hawks credit. I don't just I picked the Bucks in 6, and I'm still riding on that. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Hawks won it because I respect Nate McMillan. Nate McMillan is their most valuable asset right now. Trae Young is great, don't get me wrong, but Trae Young ain't been like this until Nate McMillan got there, right? So to me, you know what I'm saying? Can a coach be a fucking finals MVP, right? Is that a thing? But I will say Trae Young is having the best playoffs out of any player up until this point. He's been playing better than all them niggas. KD, Kyrie, Harden, Giannis. He's been playing better than everybody since the playoffs started, dog. Look what he did to the Knicks. Look what he did to Philly. This shit is, this ain't a fluke, man. And I always talked about coaching. That's why I say coaching is very important. No, they ain't important. I'm like, no, bro, coaching is very important. And I'm gonna say this about the NBA, man. Mike Budenholzer, we see, and you know what? It's very ironic, right? That Mike Budenholzer is doing the same shit he did in Atlanta, and Atlanta's gonna be the team that possibly put him out the playoffs with his best team he ever had. Because remember, he had that team with Atlanta back in 08, you know what I'm saying? I think it was 08. They had Joe Johnson and they had Al Horford.
At the time, yeah, I remember when they had that team at the time in Atlanta,
and
they wasn't even rooting for that team like that, like they do for this team, though. You know,
they won.
Even the home games used to be hardly nobody there. Be no more away people than anybody.
Well, because there's a number of reasons for that. Number one is because I think in the back of people's minds,
everybody.
What's going on, Herm? I think in the back of people's minds, they knew that team wasn't gonna do shit. Even though they won 62 games that season, they were a really good team, but they didn't make it past the second round. And they didn't have a superstar. It was just a bunch of really good players. They all made the All-Star team that year. 4 of them did out of starting lineup. But
that was 2015, Rich.
Oh, it was 2015?
Yeah.
Okay, but still the same shit though. That team, it was a good team, but it's just, bro, Mike Budenholzer is a Mike D'Antoni type coach, bro. He'll get your team. If you're the garbage team, he'll take your team. He'll switch some shit up. He'll, have your team doing good. You get to the first, second round playoffs, and then that's it. You got to get rid of him. You got to bring a dude in that can take you over the hump because he ain't that guy. And niggas be always the coach, and that's when you get players like the coach is very important, dog. I can't stress this enough, dog. I'm going on a rant about this shit because this shit, I seen a video Ticket drop, but keeping it on the topic, the coach was very fucking important, man. Look what happened with Tyronn Lue. Niggas say the coach ain't important, then say, oh, well, Tyronn Lue, and nah, bro. The Clippers, the reason why the Clippers ain't blowing niggas out is because of Tyronn Lue, bro. Making excuses for Doc Rivers. We make excuses for Tyronn Lue. Come on, dog. Stop the cap, man. Make excuses for Rick Carlisle, man. The nigga won a championship 10 years ago. Come on, dog. with the third best power forward ever, man. So stop.
And he got a job. And he got a job working for the Pacers.
And that's
Just
what I'm
like
saying,
that.
bro. And he was already coach for the Pacers when the Palace of fucking when the Rumble happened in the Palace. The nigga was the coach. So it's like, bro, the NBA. And I'm gonna end the rant with this. The NBA is the ultimate good old boy system when it comes to coaches. People want to make like the NBA is this liberal league that care about players. The NBA is the worst fucking league because the NBA has no fucking structure. You give a bunch of young motherfuckers money, power, clout, bitches, all this kind of shit. These niggas gonna ruin themselves to their own devices, dog. This is why I say the NFL, when it comes to coaches, football, and maybe college basketball is better at this shit because you could be an assistant position coach, then become a coordinator, then become maybe an elite coordinator on a better team for a few years, then be a coaching candidate depending on how successful your positions do and your side of the football do in a game and how well your team does. In the NBA, nigga gotta ride the bench for 20 fucking years as an assistant, bro. And with no progression. Nigga, you just assistant. And then, like, look at Steven Silas. The nigga was assistant coach for 20 fucking years, man. Like, when the last time you seen a young assistant besides Eric Spoelstra was the only motherfucker who you seen that progression with? Because in football, I can name you about 10 niggas who didn't went up that ladder like that and became coaches. In the NBA, other than Eric Spoelstra, who the fuck can you name that went up and was like, okay, like a young coach that's really good and he just rises through the ranks progressively? Nobody. The NBA is a fucking good old boy pipeline, dog. Doc Rivers, why the fuck Doc Rivers keep getting coaching jobs, man?
Right, but I'm gonna break it down though. Like, really, when the culture in the NBA changed, when they wanted to base everything on high scoring, when the NBA felt like the way to get their ratings up would be allowing a high scoring offensive driven league, it changed a lot of circumstances to the coaching as well. It affected every aspect of basketball. So guys that probably should have been coaches like the Sam Cassell's, Rod Strickland's, and guys in that nature, they would have got a job years ago before they made those rule changes, because they would have brought every aspect to the game. But due to them changing the rules, making the league softer and all that, some of those coaches can't coach in this era of basketball because certain things they preach. A lot of players ain't gonna like the way some of those coaches come at them. So culturally, unfortunately, some of the great coaches, assistant coaches like the Brian Shaws of the world as well, that don't get those opportunities, they won't be able to fit in this type of era of basketball to me. Mark Jackson,
what did I say
probably
before?
was the last one that probably could galvanize the team.
And they ran his ass about the NBA.
Why think Lionel Hollins ain't got a job?
And look what I said before.
Yeah.
I even
And
brought
why
up
think Lionel
that
Hollins
coaching
ain't got
shit.
a job? Because he gonna get on all them players.
I said before I even went in about the coaches, I said the culture and the lack of accountability and the lack of structure in the NBA is going to be its own downfall. There's a reason why the NFL players, they don't make as much money, this and that, but at the same time they got their structure and it's more stable. The NFL money stay gonna coming in because they don't put them games on cable. You get the Monday Night Football, they put that on cable, but sometimes most people go out to bars and shit to watch Monday Night Football anyway. So it's not even that big of a deal. One game a week on cable, all the rest of them on fucking regular TV. So more people watching that shit. It's a more popular sport in America. Like, and the coaching, like, it's just, bro, they just run the league better than the NBA. The NBA is terrible. It's going down. It's fucking like, bro, they fucking it up, man. They fucking up the NBA, dog.
They're going to have to fire Adam Silver. I think we need to start addressing Adam Silver, and I think they will have to make a change at commissioner. ASAP, though.
Because you remember, niggas was
They're going
like,
to have to make a change at commissioner.
Because niggas hated David Stern, but at least the one thing I can say about David Stern, he you know, I ain't gonna get on him too bad because he dead and shit, but I'll say this, he was consistent. Like, he ran this bitch with an iron fist. Like, I'm not saying, like, he kind of went overboard with the shit sometimes. And he was on that fuck shit. Allegedly, there's a lot of, like, real foul shit he was doing, but he did keep the shit in line. Like, Adam Silver, he's not consistent at all. 1 minute, this dude just let niggas do what the fuck they want, bro. Like, bro, you supposed to be the fucking CEO. You supposed to be running this bitch, man. Like, what are you doing, bro? Like, I mean, it's almost like you overcorrected, bro. It's like, all right, you want to let the players give them some freedom and shit, let them do what they do. But if you see them getting out of line, it's too late, bro. It's like Frankenstein. They created a monster. They can't control this shit now. There's no way, bro. There's no way, dog.
Like, it's cool that the players got more freedom now, but I felt like it hindered the NBA.
Well, Herm, you really can't say
Boy,
that
out
because
like
you really can't say that because if the players really had control, Jason Kidd wouldn't have got fired at the Milwaukee Bucks.
no. What I'm saying, they do have control. The players do have a lot of the control because at the end of the day, players don't have to earn their contracts no more.
No.
Yeah, if you just put us some good numbers, your ass can fuck around and get 80 to 100 million after your first 3 years in the goddamn league. Guys like Shaq and all those guys had to earn this shit before they got their first big contract. Jordan didn't start getting his big money to the last 3 years of his goddamn career. And he was a fucking icon before the last 3-peat. But he didn't start getting money to the last 3-peat. And he a fucking icon.
It's not like, and it would be different if a lot of the old school players was like, yeah, because you can say, oh, you hating these young niggas getting the bag. These young niggas, they paving the way, this and that. The OGs paved the way for these niggas. You know, it's not a good argument. Because all the OGs, they hate this shit. You watch TV, all them old heads are disgusted by the product that they watching, that they went through all this bullshit. And it'd be one thing if they got the money and they did something with the money, like you're gonna start your own league, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that, and you actually working on your game, this and that. There's no justification for giving Ben Simmons $30 million fucking dollars. There's no justification for Mike Budenholzer still having a coaching job. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no justification for none of this shit, bro. That's why the old heads be talking shit like they do. Like sometimes they be, other times they have good points, bro. Just sick ass. Shaq, you know what I'm saying? Like all these, Akeem Olajuwon, all these dudes, they don't watch this shit. Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, they be on TV talking shit because this shit ass.
Think about it, Reggie. Shaq didn't get his big contract till his 5th year in the NBA. He didn't get his big contract till he went to the Lakers.
And you could argue he was a better player before he went to the Lakers. I think he was a better player before he went to the Lakers because he got fat and lazy.
Yep. So that's what I'm saying. But it took him 5 years to finally get his money.
Because he put in the work. You know what I'm saying? He went head to head
against. To earn it. They need to go back to that. Make these niggas earn that money. Fuck the stat because it's an offensive driven league. Some niggas can look up and get a lot of stats, but the stats be misleading. So therefore, now you got niggas like Schroeder ask for $100 million now a role player. Now I'm saying this now. Cameron Payne, he gonna fuck around getting $100 million contract
just for one game. I mean, one season. For one season, really. When you ask a nigga about Cameron Payne last year, he was aight at best. Now this nigga, you know what I'm saying? He lit now. Everybody know his name because of one, which is cool. That's great. You put yourself on the map. That's great. But now, one playoff game seals the deal for you getting $100 million contract as a fucking backup point guard. Come on, dog.
Why? Why should I tell you, man? And that's how fucked up the league is now. I'm telling you, Adam Silver got to get fired immediately. And what's going to end up happening when they do fire, we're going to have another strike. Because now the owners and the goddamn new commissioner, whoever they fuck around and hire at that time, they going to want to change a lot of shit up.
That's why, like, niggas hate niggas. And that's why I keep bringing, like, and this is why I don't see Price really talk about the NFL too much, but I think this is a prime example when you compare the two leagues because these are two leagues and I bring the NFL because it's the league with the most black people, right? So the two leagues with the most black people, and look how they ran. Like, people hate Roger Goodell, but this motherfucker been a commissioner for a long ass time. Like, and these niggas be talking to Roger Goodell, so it ain't like I don't really like people's. The only thing they really fucked up with is the whole like you can't wear certain brands and shit, and then the whole like race thing, right, with the Kaepernick and all this other shit. But niggas still fuck with Roger Goodell. Niggas still watch football. Niggas are still playing football. So I mean, it can't be that bad, right? Because if I'm a football player, And I hate that shit, nigga. I ain't playing football no more.
I'm
Like,
gonna tell you the perfect example though. It was ran right, and everybody satisfied for the type of money they getting. It's goddamn Major League Baseball. Major
but they
League
don't have a salary
Baseball.
cap. I think Major League Baseball a little bit different because they don't have a salary cap, so that makes things
But you gotta remember back in the day, the NFL did it. So why do you think why do you think it used to be the same 6 teams down there would go win every year because of the salary cap back then? It was either gonna be Green Bay, 49ers, Packers, the Broncos, the Steelers. I forgot the other Washington. Shit, they were always the top team because of the no salary cap back then.
But the salary cap is the equivalent in the business world to a competition clause, right? Like, so that's why I don't really count the MLB. But the MLB is the best ran professional league in American sports, bro. They don't do the drug testing shit. They don't do none of that shit, bro. It's just
only thing they
test
chilling for is PEDs. That's the only thing they
and we all know them niggas be on the shit. Them niggas be on the shit more than anybody else, right? So it's like, I mean, come on, dog. And and baseball is a physical sport, but it's the least physical sport if you compare the 3 big guys: football, basketball, and baseball. Baseball is the least physical. Baseball is a hard sport, a lot of coordination, a lot of mental concentration, and you got to be really quick reaction, reflexes and shit. So it's a different kind of athleticism you got to have for baseball. You got to really read.
And then them folks play 162 games on top of it.
And then exactly, them niggas played 9 months out of the whole fucking year, bro. And then if you talking about going deep into the playoffs and shit, nigga, you playing almost the whole year. So I mean, I get it. I get why they make the most money. That's why I don't bring baseball up. That's why I compare it. Like, that's why I say the NBA fucked up, dog. The NBA is fucked up,
but
man.
Everybody's satisfied. The owners making their money, the players making their money, and they good. Even the guys that sit on the bench in baseball, they make it decent enough money to the point they not even complaining.
And baseball is baseball has a. It's not as popular, but it's always gonna be. They're gonna have the most loyal, dedicated fans, bro. Like if you meet a nigga whose favorite sport is baseball, this nigga is the most dedicated sports fan ever, bro. This dude, it's like a religion, bro. These motherfuckers, they gonna watch this shit. They never gonna waver from their team, bro. Like meet dudes from Chicago, New York, like real baseball places. These niggas these niggas loyal as fuck to their team, dog. They watching the games. They sitting outside the stadium waiting to catch a foul ball and shit. Like, it's crazy. Like, the NBA, because of the LeBron and the teams and shit like that, niggas not even loyal to a fucking team no more. They loyal to players, bro. Like,
they gotta change it up, though. I'm not gonna lie. Man, goddamn Al Silver need to be fired immediately. They gotta fire the owners. Need to fire him immediately because the owners control that aspect. That all the owners gotta do is try to get rid of his ass. Because the owners, that should have been realized before it got to the place it got to. They gonna fuck around and not shit. The league not gonna be no more. They keep going the way they going.
And I'm gonna give you a prime example. Illustrate my point. I'm gonna take 2 superstar players that at the end of their career, that was, you know what I'm saying, Albert Pujols and LeBron James, right? LeBron James, right? I'm gonna start Albert Pujols. The nigga was with the Cardinals, right? You ever met a Cardinals fan before? The Cardinals, that nigga was the shit when he was in the Cardinals, bro. The nigga was
changed that whole franchise.
He changed everything, bro. The nigga had MLB lit, bro. Nigga left, bro. He went to LA. He went to the Angels, right? I ain't never seen no fucking Cardinals fan switch up and be like, you know what? I'm gonna rock an Angels fitted. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna rock with LA and shit like that. No, fuck that. The nigga got $100 million and went to the. He got a hell of I don't know 300 million or some shit like that.
Yeah, he got 300 million for the Angels.
And now he with the Dodgers. And he's still on that contract. Nigga still making money, man. 15-year contract and shit. Ain't no Cardinals fan switch up and put a fucking LA Angels and a Dodgers hat on, and ain't no Angels fan gonna put a Dodgers fitted on, and ain't no Dodgers fan gonna put no Angels fitted on.
They always gonna show Pujols respect because he brought them 2 World Series rings. So
see
the Cardinals gonna always be appreciative, but they're not gonna cheer for his ass when they play against him, though.
Yup. But these niggas in the NBA, these niggas, LeBron, this nigga went to Miami. What the fuck? I ain't never met no fucking Heat fan before, nigga. How the fuck you a Heat fan? If you wasn't a Heat fan in 2006. Now you a Heat fan with LeBron? Oh, because my favorite player LeBron. All right, cool. Let's get you past. All right, whatever. LeBron go to the Lakers. No, LeBron go to Cavaliers. Now niggas is Cavalier fans again. The same niggas who was Heat fans 2 years ago. All right, now the nigga go to LA. Now and niggas is Laker fans and shit. And we all know there's a lot of Laker fans everywhere. They like the Packers and the Steelers. They just everywhere, right? Cool, I get that. But now everybody Lakers fans. Nigga, you was a Heat fan 2 years ago. Nigga, you was a Warriors fan last year. Okay, so now, all right, so now look. I had a nigga on the panel. Me and him was going at it. This nigga said, and I said, if LeBron went to the Sacramento Kings, would you still be a Lakers fan? He be like, no, I get a Kings jersey. You know what I'm saying? I'm a Kings fan. I'm like, nigga, you ain't a fucking Laker fan. Because no Laker fan that right mind will ever cheer for the Sacramento Kings, nigga. That is a in-state division rival, bro. That shit will never happen, dog. Laker fans, T. Price, Trayvon, Ticket, all them niggas who Laker fans, they respect the Kings. They, you know, C. Webb, Rick Adelman, Doug Christie, Mike Bibby, all them guys, Vlade Diva, all that shit. They respect that, but they will never say, I'm cheering for them niggas ever, bro.
Yeah.
These niggas fake, man. These NBA fans ain't shit, bro. Like these new NBA fans, and that's why the league is in the shitter right now, bro. Cause it's no fucking standard, there's no loyalty, there's no fucking integrity with this shit. Nigga can just do what the fuck he want. Like a nigga can rock. I can put on a different fitted every day, nigga. Nigga change teams like they change fitted caps, nigga. This shit is disgusting, bro. This shit is fucking. It made me want to throw up, nigga. Like,
it's sad. And then niggas can't really take the time to build teams anymore. You know how sometimes you have a transitional period that you'll have a 4 year, 5 year window to build your team up with young players, and they end up becoming a good team. You don't even get the opportunity no more because you got all these niggas in the win now mode, and you got all these niggas want to dictate everything and link up to try to win a damn championship because they've been coming up short their whole goddamn career. It just fucked up the parity in the league. It's fucked up. They should stop that shit. They should have made it to the point where that if you do leave, you ain't gonna be able to get this certain amount of money. The NBA should make these niggas earn their money. Like shit, you shouldn't be able to get you a big contract to your fourth or fifth year in the league. That gives you time to prove your motherfucking self, and you ain't proving yourself by then. Yeah, we made sure that we stopped from giving you all the money that you end up. Cause Ben Simmons ain't earned a fucking dime. All that money he got, he ain't earned none of it. He should not have got that big ass contract. The NBA ought to be ashamed of themselves. It's disrespectful to the older players that came before him. It's disrespectful. It disrespectful to the whole just basketball period, Reggie, man. It's just disrespectful to basketball period. You got guys like Dr. J. Never seen that. Not even seen 10% of the money Ben Simmons got in his playing career.
And way better player, man. The last time I seen Dr. J, he probably got most of his money for commercials. The nigga used to be on the Dr. Pepper commercials back in the day. He used to do the Dr. Pepper commercials, man. And he judged the dunk contest and shit. That's about it. I mean, like,
shit sad, man. Shit, just Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the best center of all time, ain't get 10% of the goddamn money. That goddamn Ben Simmons got. He got that shit off the court. All the old heads got it off the court.
And I use that example, bro. The pool host LeBron example. I use that fucking example because and it's the same situation, bro. They literally did the same thing. Only thing pool host didn't do the whole dramatic. You know what I'm saying? He didn't do all that, but it's the same shit, bro. And niggas will sit up here and tell me, oh no, I'm like, bro, when you have a strong culture, and that's anything, but especially with this team shit, you got a strong culture. Even if your team lose, look at the fucking Raiders, bro. Like and look, what's an NBA team that's like really like a good dedicated fan base? And their team never wins shit, bro. Like
you can say Indiana.
Okay, yeah, Indiana, like Pacer fans, them niggas ain't win shit, bro. But you watch a Pacer game, them shit's packed. A Utah Jazz game, them shit's packed, dog. What's another team? A Denver Nuggets game, them shit's packed, bro. Like even the Knicks, bro. A Knicks game, bro. Knicks fans, they loyal as fuck, man. You see Will and Wilkes come on here and they be, man, it's almost damn near unlistenable when they be talking about the Knicks because that's how like dedicated as fans they are, bro. Like they're fans of the team. Like them niggas don't be like, oh, I'm a this fan now, and I'm gonna go because if Julius Randle went to the fucking Clippers or some shit, I'm a Clippers fan. Nah, man, you keep the Knicks fitted on, bro. You still with that team, bro.
Yeah.
Like Annie K, a Sixers fan, man. She not about to be out here like, oh, you know what? I'm a Hawks fan now. You know what I'm saying? Trae Young, gang. Like, nah, dude. Like,
yeah. But I'm not gonna lie, he been killing niggas in this playoffs though. He's been killing niggas in these playoffs.
Andy K say my favorite number 11 now. I'm telling you, man. The NBA fucked up, man. It's real fucked up, man. And coaches matter. People, coaches don't matter as long as it's all about the players. I'm like, all right, man. Like keep believing that shit, nigga. All right, man. If you ever play organized sports before, you know coaching matters. Because how many times you've been on a team and you know you got a squad, you know niggas can do work, but you looking at the coaches like, man, y'all niggas suck, man. Y'all niggas fuck rotations up, can't draw the fucking plays up, don't know what the fuck you doing. How many times you've been on a team like that? But it's different in the NBA, right? Because these niggas is elite players and making millions of dollars. But when you was in high school, when you was at AAU, you was Pop Warner, Pee Wee League, you know what I'm saying? You weren't looking at the nigga sideways because he couldn't coach. But now all of a sudden this shit don't matter in the NBA. Come on, dog. Man, I can't. Man,
what's up, y'all?
What's good, man? Man.
Funny.
And now niggas want to talk about coaching. When I've been talking about this shit for almost a year and a half, man. Now niggas want to talk about coaching, man. Man, come on, dog.
Yeah.
Man,
I
the
know the
votes
frustration.
for- Go ahead.
Man, like I said, the NBA good old boy system, dog. It's a good old boy system. They don't.
You
The
know,
pipeline is it's
yeah,
no pipeline.
and you know what? It's so funny you talk about it. I was talking about it last night when Brother TP came back, and it was people actually saying that I hopping on race. There was actually people were saying like, you got to understand, you got to get this is changed right now. But I was talking what you were talking about. I was talking about policy. If the policy is not going to change, things still going to be what it always be. You know, it just sad to me that a lot of us we still think that you can't talk about this because well, you got to see for what it is.
And hey, brother, I'm gonna give you a prime example. Why? And it's all about the leadership, the president, executive level too. Because Brad Stevens, this dude ran the Celtics for 1 month, and he hired Ime Udoka. People don't even know who Ime Udoka was. He was a fucking NBA player. He was a solid role player, and he was a Nets assistant. And that's how it's supposed to be. You bring a nigga who been putting in the work on the sidelines, who's an intellectual, who knows the game, who's respected by the players. No niggas I was reading niggas. Who the fuck is Ime Udoka? Why the fuck this bum getting a coaching job? I'm like, that's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way it's supposed to be, dog. Brad Stevens doing the right fucking thing. And if more teams ran their shit like Brad Stevens gonna run the Celtics, maybe it'll be maybe the league will be in a better place, man. That's called a pipeline system, dog. You constantly breeding and creating new talent, new opportunities to progress the growth of the fucking league, bro. Niggas in the NBA fans, they so used to this. You know, I got a coach over here. I get to the playoffs. I get bounced, mediocre. I get fired. 2 weeks later, I get a job. They so used to that Rick Carlisle shit, that Doc Rivers shit. You know what I'm saying? Doc Rivers is a prime example and he a brother of a dude who's mediocre at best. He's an average coach. Doc Rivers is average, and he just keep getting jobs, bro. He just keep fucking getting jobs. And then I could bring up a white coach who. And people, and I'm not saying that the race thing, I'm not saying that don't matter because that's a whole different topic. But when it's everybody, bro, whether you black, white, and when it's when you are old head who you a company man, bro, and you down for the whatever, you just gonna like Doc Rivers. I'm gonna play Dan Simmons. I'm gonna just do whatever the fuck they tell you to do or however the culture is going. You just do it because I need a job. So I need a job. So I'm gonna keep Ben Simmons in the game, knowing he ain't supposed to be in the fucking game. That's why I say the NBA is the NBA coaching tree is the good old boy system, and it's gonna continue to be like that.
It is. I just think that the fact that I'm not surprised Rick Carlisle got this job though. In my opinion, I think
Carlisle got what job?
Huh?
Rick Carlisle got what?
He got the Indiana
Pacers
coaching job. Yeah,
that quick.
He's back with Yeah, that's what I'm saying, bro. That's why I'm going off like this, nigga. Because look, if Ime Udoka, that's what I'm saying, bro. The only dude who been an assistant who got a job that I can say, okay, it's probably Steve Kerr. But even then, the job he got, he wasn't qualified for. So you got a job. So you was assistant, you was a GM, you was an announcer, you did all this shit, right? So you put in the work, right? Okay, granted, you got the job. This is where the whole right privilege thing comes into play because a dude like Steve Nash and Steve Kerr, right? Y'all put in the work, whatever. Y'all, you know what I'm saying? Y'all got a job. But the jobs y'all got handed the keys to a fucking Ferrari, dog, a super team. That's like a nigga who ain't never drove a car before getting the keys to a Ferrari. Exactly, bro.
You put in the work?
Yep.
That's my point. What about and again? I'm sorry. We talk about Doc Rivers. Yeah, I get it. You know, that's one of the few though. But I'm just saying that. Come on, you have to be kidding me.
That's why I say the recycle. That's why I say the key word recycling, because the NFL, that's a different animal. But what I will say about the NFL is you have a better, as a black coach, bro, you got a better chance of getting a job in the NFL, which is sad because and people say, oh, the NBA is better for black coaches. No, the fuck is not. The NBA is worse because there's a pipeline in the NFL. And like if a coach in the NFL is a terrible coach, but they can call plays and shit, they can go back to being a coordinator. Now, if you look at the NFL, how many black coordinators in the NFL? There's a fuck ton of black coordinators and position coaches that are elite.
So
and they may not can coach, but they earn an elite position. The NBA, if you ain't a head coach, you ain't shit.
So let me get this straight, Andy K. Let me hear it right. So you said Rick Carlisle became Indiana head coach.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even 72 hours.
Yeah.
Dang.
And look, and if the players really cared about black coaches and shit, they would do the same shit they do when they want to get their homeboys to come over and play with them, the super team.
Yeah.
You would do the same thing for the fucking coaches, nigga, because y'all got all the power. So if you niggas be all black coaches, this and that. So if you can go ahead and stack the deck and get your homeboy and your other homeboy and another nigga to come over to your team, why can't you do the same for a coach? Because honestly, at the end of the day, a coach matters just as much. So if you can't get a coach, because you niggas with these guys do, they get yes man. They get dudes who just gonna go with the flow, do whatever the fuck I say. I want to take this game off, and now reports coming out that the Nets or the organization, they didn't like Kyrie taking those games off. They was just saying that shit to keep the media, you know what I'm saying, keep the bad press, but they really didn't like that shit. The reports coming out now, they didn't like it. So you know what I'm saying? Like, what you get a coach, Steve Nash, a company man. Here, yes, man. Oh yeah, whatever, Kyrie, we don't need a coach, and yeah, we just gonna. If Kyrie needs to take time off to do what he has to do, it's perfectly fine, and we'll be good. And this and that. No, that's not. Fuck no. That's not how you do this
propaganda.
shit. That's cap, bro. These niggas, we all knew this shit was, but these niggas refused to believe that shit because it was KD and Kyrie. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, man, this shit is cap, man. When the fuck, when you was coming up playing sport, when the fuck that shit was cool? Tell the coach, hey, man, you know what I'm saying? My sister's birthday.
Yo, no, you better keep that to yourself. It better not even come out your mouth.
Hey, Grinder, what would happen from your team, the assistant coaches, and the head coach better not ever hear you say, what the fuck would happen? Who would check you first? You probably get a player to check you before. Niggas have no accountability, bro. What would happen, Grinder, coming up when you was playing any sport, bro? Hoops, football, baseball, soccer, track,
basketball. I play all sports, but basketball's my favorite.
So when you was playing sports, bro, and you had some bullshit excuse, bro, and you couldn't make practice, let alone a fucking game, well, you was the most important player in the game, what would happen, dog? From your personal experience, what would happen, bro? Because I already went through it. What would happen?
Stay home.
And then don't come back.
Don't come back. Stay home. Don't come back.
Exactly. Leave your jersey, leave your fucking equipment, leave your shit at the door.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you what happened to this guy. It was one time I played a tournament in New York, so I live in New York. And this guy, he was like, man, I don't feel like he was hanging out. Coach said, listen, man, we're gonna play this championship. Wherever after that, he said, I'm gonna have some at the house and everything. But you cannot come here drunk. This is the most important thing. And then he told me, he said, JT, I'm gonna need you. I was coming off the bench. I said, what do you mean you won't need me? Just be ready. All right? This guy came drunk, most important player. I said, yo, you know what you're doing, right? Man, F that, man. You know what I'm saying? Yo, what you doing? So the coach went to him. He said, hey, you all right? So I'm a little sore because we had a game. The day before that. I said, I'm all right. I said, okay. I mean, he said, Get on the layup line to do three. And I want to sit you down because you're going to play some time. I might start this. Start me? Make a long story short, I say, you said, Coach, I'm ready. Yeah, I know you're ready. You ready to get out? You ready to get out the park? Let me have your shirt. Have a good life. Just like that.
Yup.
Just like that.
You know what that's called? That's called taking responsibility and being
Yeah.
accountable for your actions, bro. And these dudes
Yeah.
are not being held accountable. They like little children.
They're not. They want to be coddled. Yeah.
And see the dudes that be capping for this shit, they'll say I'm a hater. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. This
No,
is
you're not a hater.
And a lot of times the guys that be saying this shit, they actually know the game of basketball. They know they've been around, they OGs, they've been around longer than me, this and that. But the thing is, when I related to them, it was some way you could understand, like, look, you came up playing sports. That's why James be cooking on this shit, bro. Like, bro, this shit real. Culture matters. The being held accountable matters. When you could just dog walk your coach in the media like that, the Nets were never gonna win a championship like that. I don't give a fuck how much talent you got, bro. Look at the teams that win championships, dynasties. The coach, if he's not the top alpha dude, he's the guy who can bring in some kind of influence on that guy. Like Phil Jackson, he wasn't a rah talk shit kind of guy, but hey, Kobe, come over here. Hey, Mike, come over here. Let's try do this and that. Like the dude, he had a way of influencing his players and implementing what he needed to get done. Greg Popovich, he run the Spurs with an iron fist. You know what I'm saying? Like dudes that Pat Riley, those legendary coaches, bro, they have a way of galvanizing the troops and shit. Like they have a way of doing that. I mean, even Doc Rivers. I hate to say it, Doc Rivers not a great coach, but he's a great like leader of men, right? So he has a way. Like I don't know, bro. Maybe it's just I don't know, man. Maybe I'm thinking too much into it, but
No, you're not thinking too much. I think that's a conversation that a lot of us sometimes, bro, don't want to have, but I'm willing to have. But we get back to the story, right? He said, look, I know. So us players said, now we do what you gotta do, coach. And he said one sentence. He said, I don't care. We win or lose. I love you. We look at each other. I said, Coach, we ain't gonna let you down. We're gonna win this game. He said, I don't care, win or lose. I love you. And we went out, smacked that team by 60. Our best player left. And the other team was smiling. It's okay. And I think it was about 8 of us we played. Each of us had double figures, and we won the championship, smacked them by 60. And then that was good. You know why? Because the Coles was leaders of men, and he was he disciplined, and we understood the tact. We understand the mission. We play as a team. No man ain't bigger than no team.
That's a fact, dog.
You know what happened to that guy? Waste of talent. Got caught up to something that he ain't supposed to do. I'm not gonna say it. Wrong place at the wrong time. Still doing life in Fed prison in Arkansas.
And it's real, man. Like, I mean, if you call, we gotta hold these coaches, you know what I'm saying, more accountable. Like nobody like to give, and you got to give them credit too. Like nobody really gives credit to coaches like that. Like even when we talk about Shaq, Kobe, you know what I'm saying, Michael, Scotty, all these other, great players and duos, we never bring up the coaches, bro. Only time you bring up the coaches when you have an argument and then you want to say like who's better, and then maybe like your 5th or 6th point when you're on the ropes is, but they're coaching, but you never bring that up like initially. Or if you want to bring it up to discredit, only time coaching really matters is when people discredit like Tim Duncan or some shit like that. Then it's all the coaching. You know what I'm saying? But we never talk about how, you know what I'm saying, Kareem had Pat Riley and shit like that. Magic had Pat Riley and shit. And the first coach he had when he was a rookie, he got him fired because he was a good coach. So you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't talk about that, but there's a reason why players be getting coaches fired and shit is because whether for a good reason or for a bad reason, they recognize coaching is important. Well, if it's the reason, because a lot of players get coaches and they run them off, but like LeBron James, he ran off Paul Silas. You know what I'm saying?
He
Steven Silas
sure did. Yeah, and nobody want to talk about that though.
Because Paul Silas wanted to make him be more fundamentally sound, play in the post. You know what I'm saying? Be more of an inside presence instead of being a point forward and facilitator.
Right.
Which is cool. Like, you could do that, but at the same time, it's like, bro, like, now look at him. You're 18. His body ran down, and he could have preserved himself if he had a post game. Look at Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony didn't stay in shape half his career, this and that. And he doing just fine because he has a skill-based game. Look, Tim Duncan lasted as long as he did because Greg Popovich managed his minutes. I will admit that. He did do that. But at the same time, Tim Duncan was a post player, dog. Having a post game, that shit will extend your career, bro. Like Kobe. Yeah. Kobe had a post game. You know what I'm saying? Dirk had a post. He had to develop one. It took him like 8-9 years to do it. But once he did, that's when he started winning the championship. That's when he won the championship.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, man. Because some of these guys don't want to be coached. So they'll replace the coach with a guy who'll do what they want to do. And we've seen it on a lower level. Like, you'll see the dude, you know what I'm saying? But there's some guys, they actually will want to replace the coach with a better coach. But either way you spin it, whether it be for good or bad, they replace the coach because they know how important the coach is for whatever they want to do. Whether they care about their stats and running their own system, or they care about actually winning games and having a good team. Really good players know how important the coach is. So it's mind-boggling to me how some of these fans and media people can just sit up there and ignore how having a good coach doesn't matter because we stacked. We got these niggas and this nigga didn't do this and this nigga didn't do that. I wonder why. Because he didn't have a coach, or he didn't listen to the coach when the coach trying to tell him shit, or the coach that they had didn't know what the fuck they was doing. So yeah, no man is greater than the team.
No, it's not. And this is some people when they talk about basketball. I asked them, "Do you really have credentials of knowing the history? Do you know the ethics of playing sports? Do you know all about teams that working together? Do you know about that? If you don't know those concepts, there's nothing you can talk about."
And why did Bill Russell? Why is he so great? Why is he so great? Besides his 11
we don't talk about Bill Russell because they look at Bill Russell. Oh yeah, he just grab rebounds and score a little here and there, but he do other things too.
He was the player coach. He was a fucking coach. He was a player coach.
Right. That's
one of his biggest achievements. Not the 11 rings and all this kind of shit. He did that when he was a coach in the team.
Boy, a coach won a championship.
You know what I'm saying? Like this is.
But we don't want to talk about that though. There's nobody else before him had done that. A black man. Boston, segregated. Went to LA. 69. They supposed to win. And Boston they ain't had no really good team back then because they was getting old. And he won as a player coach. Oh, Bill Russell wasn't calling no plays or nothing. What is you talking about?
Hey man, but you can't tell these dudes nothing, man. You can't tell these fanboys nothing, man. Or these are guys that they don't understand that the NBA is. They think the NBA is just like, I don't know. It's just inherently different from every other level of competition that you've actually played. So like everyone, pickup games, you know what I'm saying, to AAU, to school, organized level, you know what I'm saying, all the way up to the All-American, college, collegiate, you know what I'm saying, even the semi-pros, the overseas, all this shit is different. There's different nuances to it, but it's ultimately the same. when you don't have good talent around you, you don't have a good coach.
Things ain't the same no more when it comes to coaching.
And that's what I'm saying.
You can't say nothing to your players no more. When you do, they want to go to the owner. They get you fired.
And Lou, you heard that story Grinder told. The coach told the motherfucker don't come back. You know what I'm saying? Because you know what I'm saying? Because and that's why I say that the Nets about Kyrie taking them games off, and the Nets was rocking with him. The Nets
do you know the whole story behind it? But hold up, Reggie, man. Do you actually know the whole story behind that?
It doesn't matter, bro. This is what I'm saying. I'm saying it doesn't matter because Steve Nash was a weak coach. They wasn't going to listen to him. It don't matter how much knowledge you got. If he can't apply that shit, it's like a nigga who know all this shit about like fitness and all this kind of shit, but he fat as fuck. Nobody's gonna listen to you, bro. You can know all the fucking methods about losing weight and getting swole and nutrition, but if you a fat ass motherfucker, somebody will listen to a dude who's swole as fuck but don't know shit. He just got good genetics, but they're gonna listen to him because he looks good. So that's the thing. Like the Nets, like bro, like it comes down to coaching, bro. Like you know what I'm saying? I know Steve Nash wasn't initially the guy they wanted, but KD signed off on him. But I mean,
he had no choice at that time.
He didn't have a choice. He didn't have a choice. I get it. That's what they got, but then they fucked up because they brought D'Antoni over. It's just that they just did a lot of shit, bro. And
he wanted Mark Jackson so bad, but they told him no. They had no choice.
And that's why Steve Kerr keep throwing shots at KD in the media. Steve Kerr can't keep KD name out his fucking mouth, man.
Yeah. But he's gonna help you win championships, though.
They need the bad. Y'all need the bad man.
Big one.
Some more noise in the back.
Sorry about that, guys. I'm at work. Dealing with Spanish people don't know I'm speaking no damn English.
Yeah. And I don't understand. I ain't mean to bring it up. I understand the Nets when they won. You won Game 6 with Jeff Green, but y'all don't want to start him. Well, I ain't gonna bring it up no more.
And even with the Bucks, man, even if you want to stay on teams that's in the playoffs, the Bucks, like this is why coaching matters, bro. Like Tyronn Lue,
you want something crazy, man.
What's up?
I looked at that game last night, man. It was more about what Budenholzer wanted to do instead of what the players need to do.
Exactly, bro.
Because his sometimes I think he gets in situations where he kind of panics and don't understand the right thing to do, and that kind of makes him not a great coach. Like, and plus, some of the players have to take accountability because if you're gonna be a leader of a team as a player, you gotta say, "Nah, we ain't doing that crap. We're gonna do this crap."
Be back.
Like Giannis told Budenholzer, "Nah, we ain't running that crap. We're gonna run play through me."
And a good and that's the kind of thing the coach needs to allow these players. Sometimes, like look at Nick Nurse, man. The story about Kawhi Leonard when they said we need to make adjustments, and then Kawhi Leonard was like, "Yeah, the adjustment is I need to guard Giannis." So more players need to start like taking that responsibility. And these coaches are like these players got egos. These coaches got egos too, man. These coaches they need jobs too. So these dudes
I have seen the playoffs. The players are not taking responsibility. They're not stepping up to the plate.
They not, bro. They ducking the smoke, bro. They ducking the smoke, man.
And the thing's been pissing me off these whole playoffs is the lack of defense in these games. Like, if you see Trae Young getting off like that, what the hell? You gotta make an adjustment. Somebody gotta step up and guard him. I don't know if Giannis was switched on him, would that help? Like, Holiday, you supposed to be 13 defense. Why you letting Trae Young do whatever he wants?
And when you got a coach that like if you no matter if you play high school ball, middle school, Pop Warner, AU, whatever you play, whatever sport, you got a coach, manager, whatever you want to call him, that's your coach, and you don't believe in him, or you know this dude, he ain't that guy, or he this and that. You're not gonna go out there and go all out. And if you are, it's because like, oh, I'm trying to get my stats. It's not really because like, oh, you know what I'm saying, we got to win as a team and believe in the system and play team ball and, you know what I'm saying, get our best player involved. All this, they ain't doing all that. These motherfuckers going out there hooping, getting their stats. You know what I'm saying? I got contract. I got to fucking get the signing bonus this year. I got to score so many points, so many assists, so many fucking rebounds to get my fucking this and that. And it's like, that's cool and all, but that ain't winning basketball. So either you're going to be cool with just getting a lot of stats and not winning, or you going to care about winning, right? And it's
like I keep saying, I don't give a fuck about the numbers. As long as you get that W, that's all that matters.
And it's crazy because like people, you know, if you got a coach, you just looking at him sideways, like, man, I don't really, you're not really all the way in it, mentally, physically. You know, the body follows the mind, so you're not really all the way in this shit. You're not totally invested. You know what I'm saying? In his knowledge or anything. You're not invested in the whole process, bro. So it's like, you know, fuck it.
He told the guys stop letting these guys punch them out. Basically, stop letting the guys acting like they run the team when you the head coach. That's the thing that used to piss me off by Steve Nash the whole year. You're the head fucking coach of this team. Act like it. Stop letting D'Antoni and these players telling you what to do.
And D'Antoni put a batter in that man's back. Yeah, you know, and Steve Nash, yeah, you know, it's, you know, KD, Kyrie, we're just gonna, you know, it's all good. We're just gonna this and that. The only time he actually like took a stand and spoke out, it wasn't even for his own team. It was because he called out Trae Young, right? He called out Trae Young for the foul baiting, which was, you know, he had a good point, but I was like, bro, keep that same energy with your own fucking play. I was like, man, take care of your house before you talk about somebody else's shit. Even though they were playing against them, I get it, but bro, you could, you know, keep that same energy with your guys too. You know what I'm saying? Because guess what? Y'all at home and Trae Young still in the fucking playoffs. So, hey, you're right, Luke. Lack of accountability.
I'm telling you,
sad,
a minute you see a head coach go at another player's neck, he's gonna be fired in that 24 hours.
Yep. Or it's gonna be locker room issues and shit. Like, and my thing
I think that's the hardest thing happened to Mark Jackson. He actually got in no players' faces when they didn't like it.
And everybody got an ego, man. Everybody got an ego nowadays because, you know, I'm on Instagram. I'm lit. You know who I'm smashing. You know how much money I'm making. You know how much endorsements I got. You know, I got my own clothing line. I was in the club with Drake last week. Who the fuck is you? You know what I'm saying? Like, that all plays a part in it too, man. These dudes got egos and shit, man.
You know what? It all happens when they play the AAU circuit. When they play AAU circuit, they coddle their boys. They play basically street ball. Yep. They don't work on their game. They don't work on the fundamentals. You play street ball, then you go to college where they're talking about, oh, you're gonna be a top 10 pick. You just gotta do a year in college to put up these certain amount of numbers. You're gonna be number one pick. They end up being being the top 5, the top 10 pick. Next thing you know, they played 2 to 3 years, or maybe 5 years in one area. Then they end up leaving, forming a super team. That's normally how it goes.
And Gribble Arenas talked about how AAU ball is not really that good, especially for younger kids, because he's saying he did the math and shit about how much actual basketball is being played, and it's close to like a college or professional level amount of basketball. And for a developing teen, that's wear and tear on your body. If like you got 20, 30-year-old men who getting hurt and getting wore down, and then you having kids play this kind of ball, and that's up until they would go pro. No wonder they breaking down in like their late 20s, because they've been playing like this for 10 years. They've been playing all year long, all this fucking ball, traveling for like 10 years, bro. And so now it's like, yeah, man, it's.
And what kind of real coaching do they actually get at that time? Seriously.
Not much, man. Because you got star power. You don't need to rely on coach.
Now you got the parent telling them, don't talk to my kids like that.
Yeah. You know, like you can't tell my son I'm gonna go over here with this coach. You know, you won't make my boy the star player. Fuck it, I'm a transfer. Now I get it. Sometimes some coaches be on some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure I've had stories. I'm pretty sure everybody has a story about a coach that was on some fucking bullshit. So I'm not admitting coaches and no accountability. And I was cooking coaches earlier, and I was saying how the NBA is a good old boy pipeline system for coaches. Like they will literally recycle the same mediocre garbage coaches over and over again and not hire, develop any new guys. And then when people do hire a new guy, guess what the media are gonna do? Oh, who the fuck is this guy? Like the Celtics hired Ime Udoka to be their new coach. I love the move. I think that's an excellent move. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, I remember him as a player.
And people are like, oh, who the fuck was this as a player? I'm like, bro. So James Jones got the Executive of the Year award last week. He made that Phoenix Suns a championship title contender. We need to be doing more of that, putting these younger and the last 2 or 3 GMs have been black dudes, have been black men making this shit like Messiah Jury, you know, a young GM.
You want to know why they're making brothers GMs and presidents now? Because they seen what some of the brothers had did to the organization building basketball team. They do the same thing all the time. They hire a black head coach. They let them build them into a championship team. At the last minute, they fire them to hire a white guy to be the head coach. Constantly.
Yep.
Constantly. They did it in Milwaukee. They did it in Toronto. They did it at Golden State.
Yep. They did it. But I think the only one that's like, it's kind of hard to say. It's kind of I think the Toronto, if you break each one down individually, the Toronto one, right? If they would have made that move, if they would have kept that same team and fired what's his face and hired Nick Nurse and won a chip, I would say, you know what? Hey, it's justified. Like, you know, it is what it is. He just didn't get the job done. But the fact that they got Kawhi Leonard,
Sam Mitchell was a good coach. It just before they got Kawhi there.
Yeah, but you got the new coach and you bought Kawhi, so it's like, that shit looking kind of suspect, dog. Because if you how the fuck you didn't trade DeMar DeRozan when you had, you know what I'm saying, the other guy there? Why you didn't give me Kawhi Leonard? Why the fuck you get this in the Kawhi Leonard? So it's like, that's an argument that's a conversation to be had, right? But
then everybody knew Golden State was on the verge of doing something great because Mark Jackson almost that year before won some of the league championship. They knew Golden State was on the verge of doing something great. And he's the one who drafted those players, got them in the right position, knew how to coach the boys up. Then all of a sudden he had the center for Golden State having an issue with Mark Jackson over religion.
And
knowing the fact he comes from a country where they having a civil war right now.
Yeah. See, and that's a whole nother off-ball topic about how these motherfuckers. I ain't even gonna get into that because I'm not. You know what I'm saying? That's I don't know who listens to this shit, but I ain't even gonna get into that. But yeah, like a lot of people come to America and they be switching up. They come to switch up and shit. But yeah. So I mean. You're right. We've seen it happen, and the NBA, like, even it's a good old boy pipeline for coaches, bro. Like, they don't develop no new coaches. No new coaches get. You know, you got to be an assistant for 20 years, and then when you be an assistant, you barely get a job as a third option. Like Steven Silas, they wanted Jeff Van Gundy, who I like him as a coach, but he never won shit. And we was gonna hire him again. We was gonna basically do what the Indiana Pacers did and bring him back, but our players didn't want to play for him because he's a no nonsense coach that hold players accountable. But we wasn't gonna bring him back because the players didn't want to play for him at all. Like, no, hell no. You know what I'm saying? He like the white Mark Jackson. You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't nobody playing for him. So We got Steven Silas because he was cheaper, and the owner was like, he got tired of James Harden and spending all his fucking money, so he's like, fuck it, I'm gonna get this dude. He's cheaper, and it's a win because I get a black coach, whatever. And it's like, bro, he's an afterthought. He was assistant for 20 years, been around the league for 20 years, the son of a legendary coach. I think Paul Silas is like top 10 in coaching and wins or some shit like that, or games coached or one of those. So he's a legendary coach. And his
I
son,
don't like what LeBron James did to his daddy though.
Yep. And James Harden tried. I don't say he did the same thing because he did get him fired, but he forced his way out of Houston. He did the same thing, and people take over James Harden. All because they wasn't trying to win. Now I'm like, bro, they gave the nigga everything he wanted. I'm a Rockets fan. I watched this shit for 8 years. They gave the nigga everything he wanted, and look what the fuck happened to this nigga, man. I don't wish injury on nobody, but it's karma, bro. You had a team, niggas was ready to play for you. You had a team, and you said fuck these niggas, and you left. And look what happened, dog.
Because James Harden knows he's at the back end of his career. He got to win the championship. If he don't win one, they gonna get on his ass for the rest of his life.
Nope. And now we're in a good position, man. You know what? Fuck James Harden. That's why I respect him as a player, but I'm no longer a fan of his, man. Because this goes back to
Reggie,
I'm fan of teams, not players.
But Reggie, in this next 2 to 3 years, he might end up getting his championship that he always wanted.
Yeah, no doubt. But it's no doubt. They built a super team. You good for 1 or 2. You good for 1 or 2 rings. They're gonna get that. They're gonna get 1, maybe 2. Depending on what's gonna happen. They're gonna get 1 or 2 rings. No doubt. But I'm talking about me personally. I'm not a fan of James Harden no more. No, because it is what it is. I respect him as a player. He's a great player. I'll never ball, but I don't fuck James Harden, bro. I don't chip for that nigga. You know what I'm saying?
But the one thing we're going to find out next year is how good these players really are, because that new rule change is going to be a game changer.
Are you talking about the fouls? Yeah. Oh, yeah. They changed that shit, man. Yeah, they had a meeting about that shit a couple weeks ago. They changed that shit. So, yeah, man. And that's what I'm saying about following.
We're going to find out how good James Harden is, Luka, Trae Young, all those guys who are always known for doing that. We're gonna find out.
That goes back to the thing about following teams, not players. I'm not about to be put on Brooklyn Nets hat. You know what I'm saying? Put on a Brooklyn Nets fitted cap because I'm a Rockets fan and my favorite player. One of my favorite players.
Who do you want the Rockets draft?
We trading the pick, and I agree with that. We don't need. I think we should trade the pick.
What?
So, yeah, we're trading that second pick. We traded it. I think we should trade down and stay in the top 10. But I think we should trade down and get multiple picks, get a pick and a player, because we already got Kevin Porter Jr., who we got for nothing. We gave up a 2nd-round pick for him because Cleveland didn't want him no more because he got into that trouble. So we got a future potential star level player for free. We got so why do we don't need the best 2 players on the board are guards. We don't need to stockpile guards. We'll just be like Philadelphia where we have
John Wall said, don't John Wall want out?
Yeah, so we gotta get rid of John Wall. So we got it. And then we just create. What are we gonna draft another player for? We get rid of that pick and we get 2 picks, bro. Or we trade down or we trade the pick for a better player. And we got to get rid of John Wall. We can't buy him out because we can't afford to buy him out. So we got to keep him unless somebody get desperate enough to trade for him. Because he making $40 million a year, bro. He got the worst contract in basketball.
I say get a guard that can get buckets.
And I ain't about to be out here with a Nets fitted on. Because James Harden out here, I ain't about to be, the Nets. Nah, fuck the Nets, bro. They represent everything that's wrong with basketball, dog. Just like Golden State did when they got KD, just like Miami did. So
I still won't let that go.
I'm just keeping it. I'm just
Y'all,
keeping it.
y'all need to let that thing go. It happened years ago. Y'all need to let that shit go.
I
Hey,
can't because look, because of that happen. It's the butterfly effect, dude. Because of that happening, we are where we are now. Just little things like it's the little things, bro. It's the domino effect. It just compounds, just stack it one on top of the other. It just
now the butterfly effect happened and when Cleveland won that championship.
It happens, bro. It's just a compounding effect, bro. Like
If Cleveland don't win that championship, does KD still go to Golden State? Or just keep their team like they had it?
I don't think he goes to Golden State. I think he leaves OKC though. I don't know if he goes to Golden
Because he
State.
was gonna go to the Lakers before Golden State.
I think he still leaves. I think he still leaves though, but I don't know if he goes to Golden State. But I know for a fact he still leaves. But I think if he would have went to the Lakers, nobody would have had a problem with that because the media loves the Lakers, and the Lakers didn't bounce them out of the playoffs, right? So I think nobody would have had a problem with that. But it's just
No, the Lakers would have had KD, Kawhi Leonard, and probably Paul George.
But the Lakers also didn't win a ring the year before and then go to the finals that same year and beat you out of the playoffs. I think that's why a lot of people were upset at the reason why he did that. And the Lakers got a lot of fans all over the world, so it's but
I think Kawhi wanted to go to the Lakers, but he didn't want to play with LeBron.
facts. You say facts. Yeah, man, and it ain't nothing wrong. Like if you like, I'm a Rockets fan, dog. Like, yeah, I'm like in the playoffs. I like Giannis, so I've been going for the Bucks and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because like my team in the playoffs, so I'm gonna pick a team I'm gonna ride with.
I'm a Bull fan.
But we just pick a team. Like you gonna ride with this team in the playoffs. You recognize that good player. That's a player you like. So you go.
The reason I picked Brooklyn because I wanted them to give the middle finger because they was up there talking crap about them the whole year.
Yep. But there's nothing wrong with that. But when the regular season start next year, fuck everybody but the Rockets, bro. That's what I'm on, bro. Like I'm not buying no Bucks fitted cap, no jersey, none of that shit, bro. I kind
of like what my Bulls did. We just need another guy who can get buckets.
Yep. That's what's up, man. Like, man, these niggas are shameless, bro. These niggas rock around with 5 fitted caps in their back pocket and shit. You know what I'm saying? These niggas, my favorite player went here. Let me put this cap on. Oh, nigga. Next year he linking up with his homeboy over there. I got that cap too. Let me get that jersey ready, man. This shit is sad, bro.
It should be more about teams instead of individuals.
And because it's all about the individual, there's no because it's not structured for that. It's not an individual sport, so it's going to break down.
Hey, T. Price, there you got somebody in the background.
Who is that?
South.
Okay, South in the background. The system ain't made for that. It's not an individual. It's not an individual sport, man. So it at least a lack of accountability. Because if you're a fan, like I said, I used the example. I forget the dude's name, man. Me and him was going back and forth about this shit, and then we was. I said, so if LeBron leave the Lakers and go for whatever reason, if he left the Lakers and went to the Kings, would you? If you a Laker fan, so-called Laker fan, you would support the Kings. Take off your Laker jersey and put on the Kings cap and a fucking Kings jersey right now. Yeah, I'll do that. I'm like, nigga, that's asinine. You're not no real Laker fan would ever say that shit.
You talking about CJ?
No, it wasn't CJ. I forget the dude's name. He don't come on the streams.
Myron.
No, it wasn't Myron, but Myron said that shit too. Myron just don't give a fuck. And Myron's another example of that shit too, man. You know what I'm saying? These niggas don't care, bro. It's like if LeBron went to the Clippers, bro. Look, all these Laker fans have on Clipper jerseys tomorrow, dog. That's what it is, bro, and that's fucking disgusting, bro. Ain't no real Laker fan wearing no Clippers jersey, bro. Like,
yeah, I can't stand what CJ said. He claimed to be a Brooklyn Nets fan, but he said, hey, he ain't rooting for KD or Kyrie because they beat LeBron.
And I'm just like, nigga, what is that? How does that even sound, bro? Like, I'm like, man, and this is the shit I'm talking about, bro. There's no accountability. The fans don't have to be accountable. The players don't have to be accountable. Hell, some of the coaches, like, I mean, the only reason why they're accountable is because it's easy to blame a coach. All you do is fire the fucking coach, right? But
It's
these
like
niggas don't really.
I remember time in '98 the Knicks were trying to go after Michael Jordan real hard. If Michael Jordan went to the Knicks, you know what I mean? I'm gonna root for the Knicks. I'm gonna still root for my Bulls.
But a lot of these fanboys still root for they root for Jordan. He the GOAT. A lot
What's
of these
going
niggas
on,
still
man?
root for him. But no, I you know what? I take that back because when Mike was in Washington, niggas wasn't rooting for Washington like that. They wanted to see Mike. Like they would go to the games to see Mike. Niggas wasn't wearing no Washington Wizard jerseys and shit. Like they wanted to see Mike. That's the difference. They wasn't rooting for fucking Kwame Brown and all them niggas. They was rooting for Mike. No
Yeah,
disrespect to Kwame Brown
it's funny to me. It's funny to me how old our Wizard game came on TV when Mike started playing there.
Like and you brought up a good point. Even when Jordan came back, bro, they went to the games to see Jordan, bro. They weren't wearing Wizards merchandise and shit, bro. Like, so it's like now it's just a different era. Even with the
I don't
GOAT
know about
himself,
that.
bro.
I've seen a lot of Wizards Jordan jerseys, but
And
maybe
where they at now?
I want, of course, because that shit was almost 20 years ago. But I wanted to come on here because I feel like you telling the half truth with this super team thing, man. This super team thing, you were trying to make a point that super teams are not always successful, which is true, but it's still a half truth. You were trying to allude that teams building have more success, but you only talked about the teams that had success. It's way more teams that don't have success just building through the draft and free agency. You can name numerous of teams now, even your team. Even the team
I addressed that. I'm gonna let you finish. I addressed it, but I'm gonna let you finish. But go ahead, man.
Or maybe you addressed it at another time, which I didn't even get to, listen to it. But from my understanding, when you had your little lecture on super teams, you were making it seem like super teams more or less are a failure than just any old team just building through the draft or free agency. When we know numerous of teams, even in especially in recent times, has been building through the draft, developing superstar players, and then they superstar players leave, and they left with shit. Nothing even remotely close to those players that they had developed because they want to go to bigger markets, because they want to team up, like you said, and other people say,
I'm gonna tell you the super team. The super team is a byproduct of the salary cap. Now, it's a rabbit hole. I'm gonna briefly touch on this real quick. The super team is two ways to define success, and the reason why people make super teams, the reason why like a lot of the owners sign off on these super teams, because it is successful off the basketball court. TV ratings go up. You get more casual fans. You sell more merchandise. You sell more tickets. You get more big network games. You got big star names. And all you got to do is sign 2 or 3 players and pay them like $40-50 million a year. You get more endorsements for your team and those players who play for your team. So your company makes more money. So if I sign 2 or 3 players, $50 million a year, and I just fill the rest of the bench of role players, my team worth goes up billions of dollars because of that.
And the elected bargaining agreement money supposed to be going up more next year.
So everybody's getting the bag with the super team. So in that point, you're right. I was talking about on the court, but I'm not gonna. You're right. That's why a lot of players do it. That's why a lot of owners
think about that new deal ABC has signed with Disney for more money, and that TV money is going to go up, and you're going to see more super teams. Watch.
And look what happened with the Warriors. They've been playing in Oakland since way back in the day. Then they built that brand new nice ass stadium in San Francisco, which all the real Golden State Warriors fans in the Bay was fucking pissed because it's like we held it down when y'all niggas was shit, and y'all built this new stadium on the other side of the bridge. If you know anything about the Bay, you know that's a slap in the face to everybody in the town.
It's like every organization in Oakland's leaving now. You A's leaving to go to Vegas. You got the Raiders who's up Oakland to go to Vegas.
Yep.
Now you got the Warriors leaving Oakland to go to San Fran. Like.
Yep, and that's my thing. So that's why super teams, building a super team it doesn't help nobody. It only helps the star player and the owner of the team. It don't help nobody else. But that's off the court. On the court, the super team, like you said, to my point, the super team, you get more rings, and when you win rings, more people pay attention to you.
Not all of them win.
Not all of them win. That's why, and right. So if you build a super team, like Miami, right? You build a super team. The expectation you put upon yourself and the media, and the fact that you come out and you do this shit, so you gotta. There's no dynasty. Super teams don't make dynasties for the most part, unless they're drafted, right? The only super team that really was a dynasty was Golden State, and they won their first ring without being a super team. Because most super teams, bro, like super teams aren't dynasties, bro. They're not. Miami Heat was not a dynasty. People want to call it that, but it really wasn't.
No,
I agree, bro.
I agree, but
the Nets aren't going to be a dynasty,
bro. Over the whole history, most teams are not dynasties. It's not like time in the league where you have 10, 12 dynasty teams at one time playing. It just you got to put it in the proper context, bro. It's
and
not
that's what I'm saying.
Dynasty over the collective of teams that's played in the league. So can't act like dynasties just out there everywhere. Just people just drafting teams and they just becoming dynasties. I mean, the biggest problem with the league now is most good players are not staying. It's like it becomes a catch-22. You can have a star player that's emerging to be one of the top stars, but you still building. He ain't got time to wait on you to build. He trying to win now.
And I'm gonna tell you why super team bad, bro. Because all right, so you said I'm gonna tell you why that's bad, because of the salary cap. So in basketball, we got the salary cap. So now instead of playing one player, maybe you pay him a big ass contract for like 10 years, right? Like you do in baseball. So you pay him this big ass contract, but it's not as hit on the salary cap because you could spread it out over more years, right? So instead of paying a dude $50 million a year, $40 million a year, you could pay him $25, $30 million a year for a few more years, right? So you can still sign better talent around him. So you don't have to build a super team, right? You could build a very well-balanced team, and it worked. So like
that all sounds good, but at the same time, as he become a merger star and the pressure on him to win, he gonna be like, man, I need some good players now. I'm not waiting on you to develop.
But that's the thing. That's the thing. You can sign better role players in free agency. And what we've seen in this playoffs is that it comes down to having depth on the bench and quality role players. The superstars, for the most part, in the playoffs have shown up, except a handful. Most of the superstars have shown up. The role players in defense and coaching it matters. Like we just ignore that. Like coaching don't fucking matter. This is what happens when look. If you get two players, if you get two players, right, and you sign them, 3 players, you give them max contracts. You could pay one player maybe a little bit more money over a longer period of time, have more money to play more quality role players. So we can talk about the Clippers. Oh, Zubac is a bum. All these other dudes around them, they need help. They need more consistency. You could pay better players to come to your market, especially if you're a big market team, because you don't have a salary cap and your money's not tied up with 3 dudes, and you could pay a whole team and pay your superstar a lot of money and save more money in the long run.
I know it sounds good, man, but if you're gonna have a good team that's looked at as competing for a title or looking at to win, more time than likely you're gonna have certain caliber players that get paid a lot of money. It comes with the territory, really do.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
I break it down to you like this. You telling me you can't have a team with 1 star player and 4 shooters?
Yeah, you can, but how many of them teams are out there that we know that's contending year in, year out, bro?
Come on, look at San Antonio. This is why the salary cap is trash, bro.
How many San Antonios
salary
you got?
Cap is I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna get to the whole like the race part of it, but the salary cap is bullshit because here's why. This whole notion of players taking less money. San Antonio started doing that shit, and I'm pretty sure they're not the first, but they were the ones who brought in this low management, like this team concept of the greater good, right? Because Duncan was taking less money, so you could spread the wealth to everybody else to keep that talent. Because after they won them first 2 rings, people wanted Tony Parker, they wanted Ginobili, they were throwing them contracts and shit. Come to my team.
They really a bad example, bro. How many franchises of good players are gonna do what they do? You need to stop using anomalies as examples, bro.
This is my point. Because there was a salary cap, the star player had to take less money. If there was not a salary cap, Duncan could make the money he's supposed to make, and the other players could make their money. But then because there's a salary cap, it forces teams to recruit multiple players, pay them a lot of money if they want to win. Like, it's to your point, I get they want to win now. We need to win now. We need to get a fucking ring. We need to be successful. Instead of being no player, like LeBron said it, we're not taking less money, which they shouldn't. That's the money you deserve. But they have to build a super team to be successful because of the salary cap. You can't get high quality. You got to choose now. It's either you get a super team or you get a team full of maybe one star and a few good role players. That's
And then
your
hope he
option.
don't want to leave after he get better.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And that's why the salary cap, to me, the salary cap is the blame. The result of the super team
no, the salary
is the
cap
salary cap.
no, the salary cap gonna turn it into baseball, where the bigger market's gonna eventually just consume the better players even more, just like the Yankees do in baseball. Players get good on other teams, the Yankees go out. They can pay them more than anybody else.
When the last time the Yankees won the World Series?
I say it like this.
When the last time the Yankees won the World Series?
No, I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. No. Baseball is
compared to
St. Louis.
History.
St. Louis was St. Louis, Kansas City, bro. When the last time the Yankees won the World Series? The Red Sox won it a couple years ago. But
2009.
Exactly. Like, come on, bro. Like, more small market teams in baseball are winning rings. More small market teams win rings in baseball than basketball.
No, but I'm saying this shit would be even more atrocious if you think super teams crazy now. No cap, nigga. Bro, niggas, Lakers and the Knicks and certain teams, they're gonna have all-star fucking teams, bro.
Yeah, but they ain't winning no rings, bro. Because
they bring in more revenue than other.
But the other teams have a better chance of getting quality players, bro, because they can pay more.
They don't. You got all these superstar players that don't want to play in small markets. They're gonna lose
because the small markets can't afford to pay them. That's why salary cap is trash. Because even if I'm the Utah Jazz, right? The Utah is a bad example. Who's the small market team that nobody wants? If I'm Memphis, right? I'm Memphis. I can't pay, even with the salary cap. I can't pay what the Knicks can pay, right? I can't pay that. But if I'm
Oklahoma's a better example. Oklahoma's a better example.
Oklahoma City. If I can't pay what the Knicks and the fucking Lakers paying, I don't have that kind of money. But without the salary cap, I can get other talents. Like I can't get KD to come to, or I can't get Dame Lillard to come to OKC, right? But I can get a really good, almost all-star level player. I can get Chris Middleton to come because I can pay him more money because I don't have a salary cap. I don't have to pay no luxury tax.
But we know superstars increase your probability of winning chips. So, I mean, you still kind of in the same dilemma, bro. If you can't acquire superstar players, that's the history of the NBA. The best players in the league put you in a position to win the chip. We've seen this through history. We can't be. Yeah, you got some Cinderella teams like the Pistons and the Mavericks come through and certain stuff like that. But, bro, most of the time the best players in the league win chips,
bro. That's not true, bro. That's not true.
Basketball is not true.
The Celtics did it, and I consider the Celtics a super team, but it's a little bit different. But they won it their first time around.
They were some of the best players in the team.
But they weren't the best player. That's not true, bro.
Bro, Garnett and Ray Allen, they were some of the best players at their position in the league.
Yeah, but look what they did after that. They got to the finals one time after that and got beat by Kobe.
If the Celtics don't make that move, you think they can even go ahead and make a final appearance, let alone
no? But Boston is a medium market. It's a fairly big market. Boston's a big market, right? So why the fuck Boston couldn't attract free agents? It don't matter. Sometimes it's not even the market, bro. It's certain Boston, bro. You telling me all that money in Boston, motherfuckers ain't trying to play in Boston. They still don't want to play in Boston. The only way Boston can get players, they got to trade for them. Every player, Kyrie Irving had to trade for him. They have to trade for players. Nobody wants to play in Boston, dog.
Yeah, right now, yeah.
I'm telling you, the salary cap is ruining the NBA, dog. Anybody who follows baseball, like, bro, more small market teams have a better chance of winning.
Think about it this way. Bryce Harper right now is the highest paid player in baseball right now. He played for the Phillies. When he was all those years in Washington, they never got to the World Series. But when he left Washington to go play with Phillies, all of a sudden Washington did enough to make to the World Series and win the whole motherfucking thing.
The big difference from baseball and basketball is you don't have to have the best players like you do in basketball to win chips.
What are you talking about?
You don't. Some of the best players in baseball could play on a team, but it's a little bit more to baseball, man. basketball, man, you take the salary cap off, man, and you would have let all these great players play for, man, the Lakers would go crazy, man. They're still licking their chops, man.
It's not going to be long before you have a player in the NBA making over $1 billion.
So, okay, so, and that's the thing. It's not going to be like that because it's only one ball, bro. So, like, even if, let's just say, for instance, no salary cap. Let's just say 5 dudes, they still need, the contracts is still based on stats, bro. So, if I go to a team, even if I get a ring, I'm not, let's just say we stack the team, 5 superstars is an all-star team, and we go out and get a ring. Them niggas ain't gonna stay on that team for 4-5 years, bro. They don't get that one ring and leave because they still got to get their stats at the end of the day because them contracts is based off stats. So even if they win that one ring as a super team, they're not building no dynasty with super team. They're gonna leave after that year. They're gonna leave and negotiate their contract, get traded, and go to other teams, bro, because they need their stats. And you bring them teams the higher chance of winning, bro. Ain't no fucking superstar nigga gonna be on a team for 4-5 years with other niggas and not getting their stats, bro. That's just not happening, dog.
With no cap, they gonna make a lot of money, bro. Whether they getting their stats or not.
But from endorsements, bro. But they leaving money on the table. They leaving, bro. So
players have been doing that over the past year. Bro, when they created this, what was they call the shit where the team you play for can pay you the most money. Players been leaving that on the table. Because Carmelo's a different player. So what are you really saying?
And look what happened, bro. They only signed. Why you think that is? Because they only signed 2-3 year deals, bro. They don't sign long-term deals when they go to these other teams. They sign short deals so they can get the 2-3 years, win the ring, win the 1 or 2 rings, and get the fuck out and finish the rest of their career. It's not like baseball when niggas are signing 10-year contracts and shit and they chilling.
Yeah,
it's different, bro. That's why I say the salary cap
in the more monster, even a more monster with no cap, they gonna turn into them. You think they monsters now,
bro? It gives teams, it gives players security, bro, because players will take security over a ring any day of the week. The NBA, you get no security.
How you saying players having security when they doing 1 year in the option?
Because they don't have security, so they flipping it because they bouncing around because they getting the best deal up front because NBA players don't get security in their deals like other leagues, bro. So like they'll rather do the 1 year, bounce around, get the ring, and then find somewhere and settle on the back end as opposed to
contract has no security to it, bro.
That
you getting that from?
That's set in the NBA. It does not. Like in the NBA, they don't give out 10-year contracts in the NBA. They don't do that shit.
The last time they gave out a 10-year contract was with Magic Johnson.
But most time when a franchise trying to acquire a big name star player, they at least try to lock him in for 4 to 5 years.
That's not enough for a star player. That's not enough, bro. If I'm going out here, if I'm a star player,
be locked in with a franchise, and
because they don't. It's not enough, bro. Because if I'm a star player and I get hurt in the middle of my prime, and I get hurt, and now the team they're like, man, you might not come back or this and that. Now you losing out on because now they hype those contracts with bonuses and shit in the NBA. So like Donovan Mitchell, he lost $37 million this year because he got snubbed from the All-Star game. The NBA contracts, how they make their money is on bonuses and shit. I wouldn't even be tripping if I had an 8-year contract. This is and that. I don't get the bonuses, but the money's guaranteed.
It's interesting you say that because a lot of people get mad because these players be complaining about certain accolades and they don't realize they make money off that shit. They could be like, nigga, I need to win this shit, nigga. I don't know how much money I'm making off this.
And it wouldn't be such a in baseball.
That's the problem today in the NBA. They care more about accolades than they do about wins.
And it wouldn't be as bad. It wouldn't be as bad, the accolades, because if the money was guaranteed, niggas wouldn't be worth stat chasing and shit like that. It wouldn't be as bad because I'm not tripping because I got a $30 million contract every year guaranteed as opposed to I got $20 million guaranteed, but it could go up to $40 million if I get this, and that. There's a whole different conversation, dog. So yeah, niggas are gonna sign 2-3 year deals, stack the deck, get the ring, and then go to another team, sign a 5-6 year deal, and get paid way more money than he took to get the super team and get the stats and not win a ring. Like it's a totally different thing, bro. Like that's why I say the salary cap. It's the players, but the players are like the salary cap is the reason why this shit is fucked up, bro. Like
Let's go. You gonna turn these players in there? You think these players crazy, out of control now? You take that salary cap away and see what happens. This shit gonna get crazy, bro. I mean, it
it's
don't
not,
bother
dog.
me. I know other people have nightmares over this shit.
It's not, bro. I'm telling you, the salary cap will fix a whole lot of fuckery, bro.
But it's gonna be just like I understand the Yankees haven't been winning because you just acquiring. It takes more than just acquiring good players to win in baseball. But in basketball, it has more of an effect when you able to acquire star players with no cap, man. Bro, it's a big difference. There's less players on the court in basketball. You know,
That's why the salary. That's why it's more important to not have a salary cap because
you gonna squeeze the small markets, man. With
you're
that
not
shit.
going you give the small markets a chance because if the small markets if they go beyond the cap, they gotta pay a luxury tax. Most of the big market teams are all over the luxury tax as it is because
I
there's
get
a
what
luxury
you're saying,
tax
but
because the small market teams they so scared to pay extra taxes about going over the cap. They stay under it. That's why OKC didn't want to pay James Harden $5 million because they like we're gonna be paying triple the amount of money that we will be paying if we just overpaid him in the first place because we going over the cap and that money gets taxed. So why the fuck would I even? That's why small market teams always be doing these little bullshit trades and shit because it's not the fact that they overpaying players, the fact they got to pay taxes on those overpaid players. So it's like
I get it, man. But to think about it, when you got players, for instance, if this little rumor with Zion is true, you think he worried about? You think he worried about what he can get paid in New Orleans? He trying to leave New Orleans. If the rumors are true, I don't know if the rumors are true or not. We've seen players leave money on the table. If he can go make money, the same amount of money or less, or even more, to go somewhere else, players are gonna do it to get out of smaller markets because they don't want to be there. They feel like these players feel like they're bigger than certain markets, playing in certain markets. So that's still not going to negate that fact.
okay, so you saying, and I agree with you. That is, I think that's like 70% of the reason why Zion want to leave because I think before the draft he wanted to go to New York before the draft. So I'm not even going to hold
You
that
see what I'm
against
saying?
him.
Like
I'm not, but
he already got a Nike contract. You think he worried about losing a couple of dollars to get out of there?
But you don't think Stan Van Gundy, the coaching situation, them not winning, has a part to play in that? You don't think if New
But you
Orleans
just
was
said
if New Orleans
he wanted to go to New York anyway, so he didn't
so if
want to
New
go.
Orleans is you saying New Orleans was winning 40, 50 games a year, going to the playoffs, you don't think Zion would say, I think I might hold off on that. If you don't think New Orleans was able to throw Zion an $8-year contract, something million dollars, like $30 million a year guaranteed. You know what I'm saying? You don't think Zion it may make him say, you know what? I might stay in New
It's
Orleans.
a possibility, but
And then and you see, look, there's another benefit about giving these players more longer contracts is you can trade them more easily. Because a team will say like, well, his contract's guaranteed, so I'm gonna get this many years out of him. You can move the contract easier. If you give players shorter contracts, like if I give a nigga a 4-year contract, but then halfway through the contract or like 3 years in, it don't work out. Now I gotta find a team to dump this contract off on him. He making $40 million a year on a fucking 1-2 year deal. I'm not, and then he might leave the next year because he don't even want to be there. So it's like I can't even do nothing with him. So if I get him, maybe then that's when if you got a bigger contract, you could bring more teams in. You could send him to another team, and if you don't want to be there, I can move you at the trade deadline. I could, you know what I'm saying? I could keep you for a little bit, bring your trade. We could work on your trade value. We can bring more eyes on my franchise real quick, build your trade value up, and then we trade you again. You can't do that when you got a fucking 1-2 year deal because nobody wanted to touch you. I don't know, man. I think baseball got it right. I know I get what he's saying about the Yankees, but Yankees ain't win no World Series championships in recent, man. Them niggas ain't winning shit. I think baseball, like you brought up Mike Trout. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, bro. You remember when Justin Verlander? Justin Verlander was the best pitcher in the MLB, and that nigga played for Detroit. at the time. He was playing for Detroit before he went to Houston. He was that guy. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, like, bro, like you could be the best player in a small market team in baseball and give your team a fighting chance. Now I don't think they won a ring in Detroit, but Detroit had a lot of fucking talent. They had a lot of motherfuckers on their roster. They was paying them niggas a lot of money. When the Tigers were winning games, and the same for the Minnesota Twins, them two medium small market teams, and they were paying niggas out the ass up there. And that's because they ain't had a salary cap, man. You could a superstar player take a chance on you if you can bring in other talent and you could pay me 10 years, $40 million a year guaranteed. Yeah, I come play for you. Fuck it. He said players make money from endorsement deals anyway. The 04 Pistons won without a superstar. Yep. I don't know, man. We might disagree. What you got on this, Lou? I'm gonna do some fact checking. Do some fact checking, bro, just to make sure. Because right now I'm going off the dome and shit before I walk out the house. I'm gonna do some fact checking just to make sure. Look at his salary cap real quick. All right, so I'm about to look at the last. What is it? I'm gonna look at the last 20. Let's look at the last 15. The Chicago White Sox, the Cardinals, the White Sox, the Cardinals, the Red Sox, Phillies, Yankees, the Giants, the Cardinals, the Giants again, the Red Sox, the Giants, the Royals, the Cubs, the Astros, the Red Sox, the Nationals, and then this year the Dodgers won. And then the teams that made it to the Rangers, they made it twice. The Tigers, the Tigers never got off the hump. But
Reggie,
what I'm saying is, you brought up the Yankees. I'm just saying, bro.
that star players have a bigger impact on the game of basketball than baseball because there's less players involved, and most players play on both sides of the ball. We know in baseball you got to have good pitchers, but pitchers don't really hit the baseball and all that. You still got to go find good base. It's more players involved, so the probability, you just can't just acquire good. You need good players and everything, but you just can't acquire the best players in baseball like you can in basketball, and it had the same instant effect. Because you imagine a team like Lakers where they can acquire virtually anybody with no cap, being the biggest market, having the biggest market in the basketball, man. They don't have to worry about no cap.
But they already do that now. Like, the Lakers can get anybody they want, bro. Like,
I know, but and on top of not even worried about any kind of cap penalties or anything like that, it'll take them to even man, come on. And star players with it being less players involved and with there's less players involved in participating in basketball, and the players participate on the offense and defensive side of the ball. It's a whole different dynamic, man. It's a whole different dynamic, man. It's a reason why the NBA is a player-driven league. Players have a bigger impact on a team because there's less players involved to participate in the game. Just like if you had a salary cap now, I mean, with no salary cap, the Lakers could virtually, some of these star players sign 1 year in the option. Come on right over, man. Don't worry about it. I'll pay you whatever you want to pay. Come on, man. It'll get crazy, man. The league, this will really, in my opinion, it will really squeeze the smaller markets. It had no leverage to keep these players. They had signed shorter deals. A lot more players are trying to sign shorter deals, especially after their rookie contract.
Look, the only teams, so you got. Hold up, I'm. So the only teams that was a small market team in the NBA to win a championship in the last 20 years was the San Antonio Spurs. All the other teams that won were big market teams.
Yeah.
That's if you look at baseball, that's don't look at baseball.
That the San Antonio Spurs were a unicorn, like.
But that's because they had to fuck with the salary cap on their own, like under the table shit. That's the reason why they could able to keep all in players and distribute the wealth amongst themselves. They couldn't, without going over the tax and all this kind of shit. That's why they had to and able to sign other players and shit. They had to really spread the wealth, and the star player had to take less money.
They had to hit on players too, on players that they brought in, whether it's via draft, free agency. They done a good job of grooming players as well and developing players.
And they had to be damn near perfect in the front office, not make no mistakes. And that's very rare. Like to have, and now
that's why I said they're a unicorn. How many organizations could you hold to that type of, could hold that type of prestige or be that good in a long window, man? Because they went they went over 10, 15 years, winning 50 plus games, like a crazy record. 50 plus games. Did they go almost 20 years? That went a long time winning 50 plus games, man. I think no other franchise has ever done that.
And if you look, it's no variety, bro. It's literally the same teams over and over again in the NBA winning the rings, and it's more variety in baseball. Like
that's what I'm saying. But baseball game is played different, man. It's a whole lot more variables in the winning. You got players that only pitch. You got players that only hit. You got players that take the field and hit. Like basketball, you start putting you put 2 or 3 great players added to your team, it has a way bigger effect on your team than add 3 players on baseball team, because it's way more variable. Just like in football.
Players with the combination of paying players so much money early and having a salary cap is bad. If you're gonna pay players early, then if you're gonna have a salary cap, then you shouldn't pay players early, because they're not gonna fucking care. They're not gonna try, because they're gonna play hard until they get their money. And then they're gonna just say fuck it, right? Like Ben Simmons. If you like baseball, you come in, you make a certain amount of money, but you don't make as much, but it's stretched over a longer period of time. So that way, like the dude, like he don't have to worry about I can go all out. I don't have to get hurt.
You got to look at the optics around being a baseball player and a basketball player. When you're a great baseball player, people not saying, "Oh, you don't win a World Series, your legacy done." All this crazy ass shit. You know what I'm saying? It's not the same aesthetic around being a great baseball player. Like Mike Trout and the Albert Pujols is in their prime. When nobody walking around saying, "You don't win the chip, nigga. You ain't shit. I'm crapping home run shit."
And look, and I get what y'all saying. It's hard to win in baseball, but that's even proving my point. It's harder to win. It's harder to win in baseball, but there's more variety of teams winning. So like,
yeah, but the game has more variables to winning, bro. It's not like in basketball. It's 5 players. They play both sides of the ball. You can be a great baseball player, but you still need good pitchers on your team. You still need a whole lot of other shit. It's 9 people that take the field. You got to have good defense. Most of the time in baseball, you got to have good pitching and defense. It starts with that and just timely hitting. That wins over a team that's just hitting all these fucking home runs, but ain't got no pitching.
And that the teams that load up and get a lot of dudes that can hit, you know what I'm saying, DH and all this other shit, they be the ones that be fucking flaming out. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't never seen, like it's only, and you prove my point. That's the equivalent to stacking a deck. in baseball, a team or like a team in football who basically don't play no fucking defense, but got like 4-star level wide receivers, got a quarterback, ain't got no fucking okay offensive line and no running back. That's basically the same shit. It's literally the same thing. Them teams don't
Well, you
win
just
rings
telling me
like that.
stacking the deck only apply to basketball, man.
No, it applies to everything.
Oh.
With the different, it applies to every team. But the difference is in basketball, it's the least effective way as a whole, bro. You stack the deck in football, it's,
Backwards, bro.
and it don't
Hold
work.
on, man. I got a
It's-
business call. I'm gonna have to jump back in.
all right. My point is stacking the deck in basketball.
Somebody picked it up. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying stacking the deck in basketball. Look, stacking the deck in basketball don't work, and on top of that, it's ruining the sport. It'd be different if the shit worked.
No, bro. It works more or less than any other sport, bro. Stacking the deck don't normally work in football, man. Anybody can win in football. It could be a team that make the playoffs. You got an odd of a team that didn't make the playoffs and added a couple of, free agents winning. Then in basketball, that shit don't happen in basketball like that.
If you really break down the numbers in football and look at a team, like it's kind of because they got so many players, so many different positions and shit. It looks that way, but if you break it down and look at a team and see how much money they invest in certain positions and certain like areas on the team, then it becomes more balanced. Because on the odds, you say, oh, well, they signed this nigga and they went to the championship. Like, but if you really look at it like a team who win, like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they got Tom Brady. That was basically a super team. That was a fucking super team. They had Tom Brady, they had AB, they had fucking all them receivers before. But if you look on their defense, nigga, their defensive line was stacked, bro. Them niggas was making buku money. Them niggas was making hella fucking money, dog. And that's what I'm saying. You could pay these players like Adama Suh. They had Jason Pierre-Paul. They had all of them niggas was getting paid, dog. We're not even talking about Tom Brady. And they had enough money because they had enough money. They could bring in an AB like on a minimum deal and shit like that. Like, that's what I'm saying, bro.
But you gotta, before the season started, before Brady came, they were a team that was they went 7-9 the past 2-3 straight years, and they had some of these guys. I think didn't they have Suh the year before, or did they acquire Suh?
I can't remember. I
And
think I want to say
their defense was atrocious. You gotta remember their defense was atrocious in the regular season. They had the #1 defense, boy, but their defense wasn't that good during the regular season. See, football is weird. You just can't compare football and basketball, man. It's a weird thing. It's like football with the way it's formatted. Once you get to the playoffs, it's whoever really get hot when the playoffs start. If you can get hot, because
yeah, that's my point. Yeah, he said that's my point. Yeah, the Eagles in 2010 and then the Patriots in 2011 when they got Randy Moss, the niggas won like them niggas went 18-0 or some shit like that. Yeah, they went 18-0, then fucking laid the egg in the Super Bowl. So that's what I'm saying, bro. The shit, like, bro, stacking the deck, that shit, man. Like, I'm telling y'all, man, that shit. I know a lot of dudes want to justify this shit because their favorite team or their favorite player did it, or they grew up watching they grew up watching the Miami Heat and whoever the Celtics, they stacked the deck and it was so amazing. And bro, that shit is cap, man. That shit do not fucking work. And the reason why this shit don't work is from a fan standpoint and an owner standpoint, yeah, it works, right? You get the ring and you get the superstar players and this and that, but from a long-term perspective, it don't fucking work. Unless the only teams it work for is like the Lakers, like a big market team. If you stack the deck, stacking the deck only benefits the big markets, bro. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you're a small market team, the salary cap gives you a better chance of evening the playing field. If you keep a salary cap, big market teams go over the salary cap all the time, and they pay the luxury tax because they got the extra money. They don't give a fuck. If a smaller market team go over the salary cap, they can't afford to pay over the salary cap and pay double the money in taxes, bro. That's my whole point. A salary cap limits you, bro. It limits small market teams and it helps big market teams. You know what I'm saying? It just gives big market teams all the power, right? That's what it does, bro. People like this is all right. You'll see like how come people don't build a super team and fucking how come people don't go to Memphis and build a super team, right? How come people because Memphis can't afford to build no fucking super team, right? And it's a small market team. You know what I'm saying? Memphis ain't paying over the luxury tax like a Miami Heat, a Lakers, a New York Knicks, teams like that. They paying over the luxury tax every fucking year, right? Niggas ain't doing that. Like even my team's a big market team, Houston. We can afford to do that shit, but a team like San Antonio can't afford to build no super team. You know what I'm saying? Chicago can build a super team, shit like that. I'm telling y'all, man, the super team shit is like Portland. They can't build no fucking super team. If you look at the history of super teams, every super team ever has been a big market team, dog. Every super team, the Celtics, the Heat, all them teams, big market teams, bro. If you're a small market team, you got to really draft well and acquire talent and keep them, bro. You can't fucking just build a super team, dog. And it's because of the salary cap. I never seen refs interfere to help a team. Yeah, that shit was cap, bro. That whole Super Bowl was ass, bro. That shit was disgusting. Yeah, man. That's that. I'm just saying, bro. The super team, the salary cap only helps big market teams, bro. It does not. It like if there was no salary cap and shit was still turning out like this, it'd be a different story. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But if you got the NBA telling you can't go over a certain level, even though you got the money. So if there was no salary cap and Sam Presti said, I'm gonna pay James Harden that $5 million, would he could stay with KD and Westbrook and they could go back to the championship and possibly win it? You think he would have? He said he wanted to stay in OKC. He didn't even want to leave. So James Harden would have never went to Houston if it wasn't for a salary cap. He would have stayed in OKC and been cool being a six man, so they could become a dynasty and win rings and shit. 3 league MVPs playing together on one team. Now, granted, James Harden might have never put up the numbers he did, but they would have won rings, and his legacy probably would have been as good or better, right? So I'm just saying, bro, like.
Hey, salute Reggie. Salute Reggie.
Hey, what's up, Relentless? What you got on this, man? You think I'm cap? You think I'm just saying, bro? The super teams, and a good example is the OKC Thunder. Sam Presti didn't want to go $5 million over the salary cap to pay James Harden because it would have been like 15 to 20 because of the taxes on top of that, because of a salary cap. He went to a team like Houston, and I'm not biased. I'm a Houston Rockets fan. I'm not biased. The salary cap, a big market team like Houston, all this money down here, all these fucking oil millionaires and tycoons and shit. We can do that. So we can bring James Harden and pay him fucking hella money and shit like that, and even go over the salary cap and pay the taxes. But a small market team can't do that. The salary cap only benefits big market teams. What you got? What you got on that, man?
Oh, T Price, somebody in the backstage, I think. Yeah, I think it was the guy that was in here before. But no, man, I was away. I wasn't really listening to what you were saying, but you guys are talking about big market teams and small market teams and how they can compete in that. That's what you guys talking about.
Yeah, bro. Because we started on the super teams, right? And South was saying that it don't matter that super teams give you the best chance of winning, and because the attention, the money, the extra money, the clout, the notoriety you get from having that, the extra games and shit, and you win, you guaranteed to get 1 or 2 rings from that. It might not be a dynasty, but you will get a championship out of a super team most of the time. I'll let him explain his side of the deal, but my thing is the salary cap limits small market teams and it keeps big market teams in power.
Yeah,
that's
true.
Now, go ahead, my bro. Come on, my brother, because you ain't been talking.
Yeah, nah, man, I agree with what you're saying. Like, if you're a big market team, like they're not gonna build a super team in motherfucking Utah or some shit. Like, you understand what I'm trying to say? Because not a lot of people's gonna be really not interested. I mean, it's still a super team. But you get what I'm trying to say. They need that big market on top of it. Like Miami had a super team. Brooklyn's got a super team. All these teams are like in big cities. They can build that super team. They're gonna have more cap. understand what I'm trying to say. So like, it is unfair, and like I think you mentioned something about like Zion and stuff. Man, I can't believe that shit. He just got drafted over there. There's already stories coming out saying he wanna like if he come to the Knicks, I ain't got no problem with that. But you know what I mean. But listen, like he already want to leave. He already unhappy and shit. It's like it's hard for these other teams like Orlando and like I mean Orlando isn't that. It's kind of it's a medium market. It's not like a small market. It's not like Oklahoma or some shit.
They had a
But what about
superstar.
all the yeah, like, but what about all these other small teams? Like these players, they don't got no patience, bro.
But this is what I'm trying to get Reggie to see. His theory makes sense in all the other sports, but in basketball, great players, the legacy and the perception of great players is different. Like you don't hear about this in baseball, football. Great players forcing themselves out all the time because they don't want to play at certain places. That's the dynamic that Trump, the whole ideology of the salary cap removal, is going to change things because these players don't want to play in certain places. They don't care. If Zion wants to
like
leave,
even Steve Francis. You remember Steve Francis when he got drafted to Vancouver and shit? That nigga was mad as hell. I'm like, damn, you just got drafted, you all mad and shit. Nigga, he ain't trying to go to Vancouver. Like all these plays, they all got the favorite places they want to go. Like,
I'm not saying this don't happen in other sports, but more times than less, it happens in the NBA.
It's more of a basketball thing.
Yeah, it's a basketball thing. So, you know, taking away the salary cap is not going to change that dynamic. You get what I'm saying? If a player don't want to play at places, we've seen players leave money on the table, not to stay somewhere. They don't care.
Yeah, man, I don't really like all this super team stuff, man. Like even if they had it on like one of the teams that I like and shit, I still wouldn't like it, man. Like this whole super team stuff when you got 3 Hall of Famers, like the Brooklyn Nets had 4 Hall of Famers at one point because they had LaMarcus Aldridge. How you got 4 future Hall of Famers on one team? Like for me, they should do what like the Lakers do and the Clippers do, and like they should get like duos and shit. So you had 2 All-Stars, 2 high-level players on one team. And then if you're gonna do that super team shit, at least let's have 2 good players. Like the Clippers got players, the 2 good players. Like the OKC had at one point with KD and Russ. Like the Wizards got right now with Beal and with Beal and motherfucking Russ. And like what Miami got right now with Bam and Jimmy, and then they got a decent another all-star level player when he's healthy, like an Oladipo and shit. Like that's a better way. Like I don't believe in this 3. Oh yeah, we got 3 guys, we got 4 guys. I'm like, come on, bro, what type of bullshit is that?
This the
like
thing.
When I get
This the thing about it.
Older,
I don't really care about. See, a lot of people have this phobia for super teams. I don't care either list. If a team could build, that's great. If they can acquire players. I know if I was
but if you're gonna build, make sure it's organic, man. If you're gonna build a team, it's not organic. Like if you look at all these, like let's look at a like. I think I'm delayed.
The goal is, see, the organizations don't think like fans. I know some of these fans think this should be supposed to build a Cinderella team where the draft picks just fall in your place and you got the next generational talent. It's not generational talent being developed every year like that, bro. It's not a Durant, it's not a Kevin Durant, a LeBron, a AD, a Kawhi, and some of these guys are not in the draft every year. That's another part of this shit too. Like when you talk about the quality of development you get in the NBA and just in the NBA and NFL, like the draft value is not the same. You only got 2 rounds in the NBA. And most NBA players, I mean, most even top lottery picks are busts. You know what I'm saying? That's why when you look at it, look at how an NBA first round pick is valued versus the NFL. It's way polar difference. You know what I'm saying? It's not even like
you can be NFL. You can be a first round pick. You can be a Heisman winning trophy. Then you out of the league in 3 years.
No. Get what I'm saying. Just look at how the NFL value first round picks compared to the NBA. Like, man, a team will give you 4 or 5 first round picks in a minute, bro. NFL, bro, you gotta come up off some shit to get a first round pick.
Yeah, like I hear what you're saying.
It's a whole different, bro. this basketball shit is a whole different dynamic when you start talking about salary cap. Salary cap is not gonna solve taking away the salary cap is not gonna solve this dilemma where you got veteran and young emerging stars wanting to play for certain organizations. And most of the and we know most of the premier stars in the league already got endorsements and already making money outside of the NFL, which most other players in sports don't really have to that capacity. You know what I'm saying? You have some, but more NBA players have endorsements than some of these others and get paid more, especially when you talk about shoe endorsements. You know what I mean? So it's a whole different dynamic, man. You just can't say take away the salary cap is gonna solve everything. It's gonna make things worse, in my opinion. Because if a player don't want to play in New Orleans, if he don't want to play in Orlando, if he don't want to play in Sacramento, he's not gonna sit there and just play. He gonna force his way out or do whatever he got to do to get where he want to go.
So you saying that Oklahoma City, James Harden, in an interview, said that if they would have paid him the money he wanted, he would have stayed. Sam Presti didn't want to pay James Harden $5 million because he didn't want to go. I'm pretty sure the owner told him, you ain't going over that fucking luxury tax. Because if he would have paid over the luxury tax, they would have had to pay taxes on that money, probably had to pay out of the owner's pocket double the money just to keep this guy around, which he probably didn't want to pay or couldn't afford to pay. And a team like Houston, who probably had more money, more room under the cap, and they were probably willing to pay over the luxury tax because they just had more money, more revenue, bigger market, you know what I'm saying, more merchandise sold. They could give James Harden more money, even in the money they was going to pay him over the cap in OKC. And they said we can't bring you back unless you take less money. That problem would have never happened if, you know what I'm saying, then the shit that happened later down the road between Westbrook and KD, that might have never happened. They would have had no salary cap, and OKC could have just paid them because they drafted all three of those guys. And KD was like, he was cool in OKC. He was all right. He was like, it was straight. It's cool. I mean, if they didn't have a salary cap, that's a situation that would have stayed together.
It's possible, man. I ain't gonna say that wasn't possible. Yeah, you can use that, but more times than less, a small market franchise don't hit lightning in the bottle like that and draft 3 MVPs. You know what I mean?
And I agree with you, and that's why, and that's you making my point to why having a salary cap hinders small teams more because they have to do more with less. Like a bigger market team, having a salary cap only impacts them when like, oh, we're trying to build a super team and we want to keep the players for longer term deals. Then it might hurt them, but up front, like getting the talent, they already can get the talent anyway because they, you know what I'm saying? It's Miami, it's LA, it's New York, it's you know what I'm saying? Any one of these teams, but because players already want to be there off the court, so they have no problem. That's why they take less money because they can be there and do party and network and build businesses and shit. So that's not. I'm saying the smaller market teams have a better chance, a fighting chance of getting if they can't get like a tier 1 superstar like a KD, a Kawhi Leonard or somebody like that. They might get a tier 2 or tier 3 guy. They can get a Chris Middleton. They can get a Jimmy Butler. They can get, you know what I'm saying? You might get a Westbrook. You know what I'm saying? Or somebody like that.
Let me give you
just because your money, because you can roll out the bankroll a little bit.
Now I'm finna give you the antithesis of your argument. Look at Kawhi with a great franchise built around him, a lot of promise. He got injured. You know what I'm saying? Allegedly, they say he wanted out because of the training staff, wrongfully diagnosing his injury, right? And then you had other people say he didn't want to be in San Antonio. He wanted to be in a bigger market. You can take whichever route you want, but for some reason he was with a franchise where they had success in his early development, and he still, for some reason, wanted to leave. They could have paid him whatever he wanted, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
but that's a different. Yeah. I mean, that's a different. I get what you're saying because it's more that happened with that Kawhi situation. He fell out with the coach, his teammates, the front office. He fell out with everybody in the organization, damn near. And it was more than money going on. It was they questioned him as a man and his basketball ability and his character of him saying that he was malingering an injury. It was a lot of other shit going on. So it wasn't
You
just
know, it's
like
a
a
lot of rumors behind
contract
it. I ain't
dispute.
gonna say I know exactly, but one of the rumors was he didn't want to be in San Antonio anyway. So it's like
I believe that, but they didn't handle this behind.
They were
They
saying
made
he
it
was
public.
faking an injury. They were saying he was faking an injury.
But
Like
they
he was
brought that
like
shit out into the public. It wasn't a contract dispute that
that,
got
and
ugly. It
yeah,
was
and it could have been possibly because they knew he didn't want to play there no more. They might have started leaking it out.
they was leaking the shit out, and they was fucking his character. They was fucking around with his reputation, which is totally different than like the money and there wasn't some shit on the court or a contract. That was like his character, his brand, his name. They was fucking that up. So
I wonder if they were doing that because they knew he wanted to leave.
I think they did, bro.
You see what I'm? So you see what the point I'm making? Like he was a player. Now, if that was true, he was a player that was developed in the organization, had success at the highest level, and he still wanted to leave. And they might just want to denigrate his character, and and do whatever they need to do, whatever they could get for him, or whatever to move forward.
hey, no, my bad.
No, you go ahead.
No, y'all think Tom Brady the GOAT?
Yeah, man, that dude his resume is ridiculous, man. You can't deny it. Dude won with so many different types of players.
Like I know a little bit about football. Like I'm a Giants fan. I know a little bit about football. I'm not gonna sit there and say that I know as much as I do about the NBA and shit. But correct me if I'm wrong. Tom Brady, he got what, 6-7 rings?
He got 7.
So he's winning rings in a league that I think it's harder to win a ring in the NFL than it is in the NBA.
I think it's easier. I think it's easier to win a ring in football. I'll tell you why. And South Point took it to this point too, because I won't say it's easy. I'll say you have a better chance.
How's it easier for you to win a ring, bro?
Because look, he's a Giants fan, right? And if you look at the numbers, right, the only team that actually beat the Patriots with Tom Brady in the Super Bowl
he
was
beat
the
him
Giants.
twice. 2007, 2012.
And those two Giants teams, they had great defenses, particularly great defensive lines. But there's no fucking way. The Giants were never favored in any of the Super Bowls by any stretch, by anybody to win the fucking
It's that
Super
boy
Bowl.
Eli, bro. That boy Eli.
He lost 3. He lost 2 to the Giants and 1 to the Eagles. You remember?
Oh yeah, he did lose that one.
Oh, he did lose to the Eagles.
Yeah, and that was another. And that was some. He lost the Nick Foles like 3. He lost 3 times to 2 quarterbacks who were mediocre. They're average. Nick Foles is probably below average, but Eli Manning,
Carson Wentz, he was injured that year.
Yeah, so it's like, bro, like like Nick Foles bought Philadelphia their first Super Bowl in like years. You know what I'm saying? Eli Manning beat Tom Brady twice in Super Bowl. That shit ain't happening in the NBA Finals, like on a consistent scale as it is in football.
Yeah,
like you said,
don't
the team
you think
that get hot, any team that get hot in football, man, you go into the playoffs. You could be an 8-8, 7-9 team, hit the playoffs, wild card, and if you get hot, shit, man. Hey.
Yeah, but the reason why I said it was hard is because
earlier. Reggie, were you listening to me earlier? See the another conversation that I brought into the dynamic, which really which shows the void in parity in basketball and football is the impact on the draft. The draft has way more impact in the NFL than it does in the NBA.
I agree.
See, that's another dynamic that keeps parity, because you can have a outstanding draft and in 2 to 3 years be one of the better teams in the league just off your draft, or even instantly.
It's harder to stack the deck. I think there's a couple reasons for that. It's harder to stack the deck in football, and there's a bigger emphasis and importance on coaching, bro. And that goes back to my original argument about the good old boy pipeline in the NBA and the fact that even in the NFL, we could talk about the whole black coach issue, but that's a different story. But as far as overall, you got coaches, assistant position coaches, and coordinators and shit like that you could be a head coach in about 10, 12
coaches.
Years. Yeah, you could be a linebacker coach, like the dude who Doug, what's his name for the Philly, Doug, what's his face, Peterson. Nigga was a quarterback coach, got promoted over to be. You could be placed from a line, like the dude in Washington. He was an O-line coach. You can be a position coach and jump coordinator if you really good, or if your team believe in you, or if you come up under the good system. You can, but in NBA, you doing at least 20 years as an assistant, dog. You riding the bench, bro.
Yeah, and this guy in the chat, man. The reason why I said it's a bit harder is this guy in the chat. He say like football teams, they got a fuck ton of dudes on that team, bro. And a lot of them, like a
Yeah,
lot of those dudes, they play key parts to making the Super
yeah.
Bowl.
When
So
you
that's
have
why,
more moving
like,
parts,
yeah, and
you
that's
got to
why, like,
have more
when I was younger,
continuity.
yeah, that's why when I
That's
was
why
young and
I
I was
like.
watching. That's why when I was young and I was watching the NFL and teams would make it to the Super Bowl and then maybe they won or maybe they lost it. I'm like, they didn't make the Super Bowl for the next couple of years. I used to be sitting there scratching my head like, what the fuck? I'm like, what's going on? Like, how come they not making the Super Bowl? They win 14 games one season. The next season they barely make the playoffs. They miss the playoffs. I'm like, what the fuck?
Cause that
I
shit
never
hard,
understood that.
bro. That shit hard as
And I was
fuck
like,
to
yeah,
make
that
the
shit's
Super Bowl.
harder. It's harder to win it because you might win the Super Bowl, make it to the Super Bowl, and then fucking almost
See
10,
this.
20 niggas leave the team in free agent and leave us. It's just, I'm like, why
See
is
this
it
the
so hard?
thing.
And then now I got older and I started realizing, I was like, yeah,
This
it's a bunch of moving parts.
this the thing, Relentless. You kind of asked the wrong question. It's not the fact that it's easier to win Super Bowls win Super Bowls. You have a higher probability of winning a Super Bowl as a team. It's more parity because the impact on coaching, the impact on the draft. You can have you could have an outstanding draft that puts you as one of the top teams in in 2 or 3 years later, or even a year or two later. You see what I'm saying? When you
Yeah,
draft, like, look at the Chiefs. When they drafted Pat Mahomes, he wasn't even a top first round pick. They drafted him. They sat him his first year. Then nigga come
he
out
was
throwing
sitting
what
behind.
40,
He was
50
sitting behind Smith,
touchdowns the
Alex
second
Smith,
year.
right?
Hey,
Huh?
and you proved my point about the coaching thing because it's all about he didn't do that until he got Andy Reid. And then number two, it's all about structure, bro. Like it's very rare for most positions, except I say running back, that guys come out of college and they just start
No,
and they just get hot. Like running back, because you got a short
no. Pat
shelf
Mahomes
life.
only had Andy Reid. What you talking about?
Oh, they didn't have a coach
Yeah,
before? Okay.
Alex Smith. See, his first year he sat under Alex Smith,
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah,
and
thinking
then he
about.
played. Alex Smith got hurt at the end of the year. He played like the last couple of games. Then he started the next year. They got rid of Alex Smith. And they sent him to the Redskins.
But see, that still proved my point about structure, though. Like there's a structure in the NFL, and a lot of dudes
But you
might not
need
like
more
it.
structure when there's more moving parts. The NFL roster got over 50 players. NBA roster, what, got 15 players? Like,
The NBA, but they had structure, bro. But they negotiated it and they did. But the NBA has it. Ain't like the NBA was always like a free for all, bro. That's why these old heads be on TV complaining about this shit because the only
but
issue was the money. But the
no,
money, they fixed the money, but the structure they didn't keep the structure intact, bro.
the problem is the NBA, they sold the league as a player league. That's how they made their revenue. Now it's
And
coming back to hunt them. They
and that's
created
what I mean by
Frankenstein.
structure.
They
That's what I
can't
mean by structure.
once you create Frankenstein on that laboratory table, and you get up and he don't do what you want to do, the nigga too big for you to control him now. The nigga off the table. You can't. The players run the league, bro.
I think we agree on. I think we all agree on this. We agree on the same issue. Is that this whole? You know what they say on TV all the time? The quote unquote player
hey man,
driven
y'all
league.
gotta stop it, just cheating stuff, man. What do you mean Tom Brady cheating, man? Get the guy his props, man. He won 7 Super Bowls, man. Come on, man. About cheating, man. Come on.
This player driven league. This shit cap, dog. These cats is ass, bro. These dudes out here like. And what you were saying about the draft, like the NFL is more important, the draft is more important. Yeah, it's not as important as the NBA because say like if I'm a team and look at the Cleveland Cavaliers, right? They was trash. They had Kyrie Irving, still got the number 1 pick in the draft. They had Andrew Wiggins because this whole like the ping pong ball and all this shit is
But
ass,
the
bro.
NBA trade
And they
first
did it
round
with
drip.
Patrick Ewing. They did it with Patrick Ewing, the Knicks.
You don't even have to be the worst team in the NBA. You don't even have to be you could be like a bottom 10 team in the NBA, not even a bottom 5 team, and still get the number 1 pick, bro. Just like on a ping pong ball and shit, bro.
But the value of a number 1 pick in the NBA is equivalent to a goddamn 4th, 5th round pick in the NFL, bro. They just don't give a damn about this shit. We see franchises trade out 4 or 5 first round picks. You don't never see no shit like that in football.
Because it's harder to do. It's hard to stack the deck in football. If I'm in the NBA, and let's just say a dude is like a bust or he's not
so you mean to tell me he cheated all those rings?
He's like Alonzo Ball, right? It's easy for me to take Lonzo and all these other draft picks, trade that shit, and get a LeBron James and get an AD. You know what I'm saying? I get LeBron James in free agency, then I get AD. I trade these niggas for AD,
And when we back on it, you can't do that shit in football. It's hard. You can't take the quarterback and in the fucking. It's hard to do that shit, bro. You can't
Yeah,
just
look at what
trade
happened
away
to
your
Cam
best talent in
Newton.
football.
Yeah.
So that's why like the value to pick went down because of super teams. Because when you get a super team, you don't have I'm less incentivized to actually really evaluate talent, like really scout talent. I can say fuck it, man. If this don't work out, you know, I can always trade this shit. I can give me a superstar like Cleveland. They traded number 1 pick for Kevin Love, bro. You know what I'm saying? They traded him for Kevin Love.
Kevin Love was good at the time, though.
Yeah, he was good at the time. I'm not gonna cap. He was about 20 and 12 at the time, but they traded the pick for Kevin
Until
Love.
LeBron messed him up, man.
They got LeBron back, and then they already had Kyrie. Bam, super team, ready to go. Then they signed J.R. Smith, and they signed Tristan Thompson, and they were signing all these niggas, paying them big dollars. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, yo, so it's like, man, I'm telling you, bro, the reason why the picks don't have as much value or impact is because at the end of the day, you got the safety net, especially you could build you could build a team, a super team. And Cleveland is a small market. I won't say they're a small market. They medium-sized
They
market.
small market, man. They small market.
The Cleveland got a baseball team, a football team, and a basketball team, dog. They're not small market. I say they're medium market. It's money in Cleveland, dog. Like Cleveland's a relatively big market team, bro. It's just nobody want to play in Cleveland though. Like they're a big market team, bro. Like they got all 3 major franchises in that city. I would say Cincinnati's like a small market, but Cleveland's a big market team.
How many teams Cincinnati got? Because they got the Bengals. Do they have a baseball team?
They got the Bengals and the Reds. That's it.
Oh no, what happened?
What's the Reds? The Reds is the baseball team?
Yeah, it's the baseball team.
I got knocked out, bro. But that's the glaring difference. The NFL draft and the NBA draft is no comparison, man. That's one of the main reasons why it's so more parity. If you got the same value out of a NBA draft as you got out the NFL draft, a lot of this super team stuff, it would alleviate some of it, but you don't, man. People trade first round picks like it ain't no tomorrow. You got drafts where you got it's draft classes where you virtually got no all-stars in. That shit never happens in the NFL.
Yep.
That shit never happens in the NFL, man.
Yeah, what draft you say? What did you say?
I'm saying you got draft classes in the NBA where there's pretty much no all-star players. A complete
wide. You remember the 2000 draft, the 2001 draft, 2002 draft? Those draft classes were just like dead, bro. There was like nobody was coming out of that draft, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
For 3 years.
This is another aspect of the conversation that's never been talked about when you talk about the evolution of player movement and super teams and how franchises are more.
Is there even a Hall of Famer from those draft classes? Well, maybe Yao Ming, maybe Yao Ming.
That's what I'm saying.
Who else was in that 2002? I don't even know.
Like if the quality of players had the same impact as the NFL, it'd be more parity. Teams would be more susceptible to develop because you got quality. People wouldn't be trading out 4 and 5 draft picks just to get an all-star player.
And also the free agent market is more balanced in the NFL. So like an NFL team, they hit the free agent market. They're not like, unless it's like a quarterback or a receiver or some shit like that, they're not like, most teams aren't even in the market for that shit. They'd rather get a quarterback in the draft because they'll sign like a bottom tier quarterback until they can get a draft pick or some shit like that. They'll go out and get offensive linemen and shit like that. In the NBA, most teams is going after they'll go after the big name dudes first, and then if they can't get them, then they'll grab everybody else, then pay these dudes you know what I'm saying, the rest of the money left over when they like some scrubs and shit. And it's like, it's never like, it's always scrubs and superstars on the free agent market in the NBA. Or it's like a year where it's just no superstars and it's just some like good role players. It's never like a whole complete, talent pool of players, bro.
But football is more system dominant than basketball.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
You got schemes, you got zone scheme, man scheme type players. You know what I'm saying? You got zone blocking, it's just so much different, man. But you got more moving parts, which when you got more moving parts, and you got to think about basketball players can virtually, if they skill level permits, they can virtually do anything on the court from rebounding, shooting. And in football, most time you play on one side of the ball, either you blocking, running the ball, running routes, throwing the ball. Like everybody's not doing all that at once, so everybody impact ain't the same. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no long snapper don't got the same impact as a quarterback. You know what I'm saying? A left guard ain't as valuable as a left tackle. You know what I'm saying? So it's.
But my point is that the teams be building backwards, bro. Like, all right, let's just say for instance we're gonna do the super team shit, right? Let's just say for instance super team. Fuck it, let's just do it. Everybody build a super team. They do it wrong. They bid the superstar first, and then they fill in the pieces for the team. That is a recipe for
you
disaster.
gotta get the star when you can get them.
Yeah, I know that, but it's like I get that. So right, but all right. So you say we can only get the star when you get them.
LeBron and Kawhi available. You got to get them when you can. You can't be like, I'm gonna wait on you, my guy. Let's hold up.
I'm not saying wait on them. I'm saying build a team backwards. So I'm going reverse because I'm saying fill the roster up, get as quality of talent as you can in all the other positions, and then once you acquire as much quality talent, then look at your team and say, all right, and then look who's on the market and be like, well, Kawhi Leonard's on the market. He's a small forward. So, hey, whoever our small forward is on our team, hey, you got to go, dog. This Kawhi Leonard. Now, granted, he might be let's just say your small forward is your best player, but you have so much quality talent around him, you can give him up for Kawhi Leonard. Instead of, we're going to put Kawhi Leonard on the team and then fill in the gaps. So now you got Kawhi Leonard, maybe another superstar, and then you just like you got a bunch of fucking scrubs. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what happened with the Nets. And then they actually had talent left over and traded that away for another superstar.
I get what you're saying. If your timeline permits for you to go in that order, okay, I understand that. But most of the time when certain caliber players come up in free agency, whether it's a small market or a big market, they putting their bid in to see what they can do. We seen that with LeBron. We seen that with Kawhi winning free agency. Seen that when Durant went into free agency, and other star players. That's just the nature of the beast. Come put your bid in.
And see, the Lakers, they actually did it the right way when they got LeBron the first time, but he got hurt, and then they didn't want to develop the young talent, and then then Lonzo, he didn't pan out at first because they didn't develop him. They just like, I get it, you're a lottery pick, so you expect
going there to develop young talent though. That wasn't a part of the plan. We know that. Just as well as Durant wasn't gonna go to Brooklyn and wait for their young talent to develop. That's why he wanted Kyrie to come, and then you seen early this year they were able to acquire Harden. Like, we know that's not the plan of these guys, man. These are veteran superstars. They're not waiting on no franchise to develop no team for them.
But it's very ignorant of them to dismiss the fact that role players play a key role. Like, you can't take all the shots, bro. I don't give a damn. Michael Jordan didn't take all the shots. Kobe tried to take all the shots and then ran his ass into the ground, and he finally realized he couldn't do it. You need quality role players around you. Like Kobe figured it out when he, his second time around, he was like, man, like,
I mean, to me, Kobe was a great player, but he had a high usage and he was inefficient. And one thing, when Phil come back, they realized that they had to make a trade to get rebounders around the team they played, because Kobe was gonna still take a lot of shots. I mean, he put up shots, but you needed 7-footers to rebound. That was a big part of them making them runs, man.
Exactly.
On offensive rebounds.
They had quality role players in them Lakers teams. They were very big and athletic. So they can, they control the boards. They're a very physical team. And they put good role players that complemented Kobe Bryant, and his second best player wasn't a superstar, but Paul Gasol, he was a very capable all-star level player that could score, rebound, and when Kobe put a battery in his back, he got a little bit more physical, and they started winning championships. And that's not what's going on today. Like, the Lakers team, there wasn't no super team. There was just a really good team that was well balanced, and they fit each other. Like, So
Man.
instead of getting like instead of getting the superstars, like, all right, you're gonna trade Jared Allen and Karis LeVert, right? So instead of getting fucking James Harden for him, why not get like other players that better fit the system or better fit around the team, right? Instead of getting James Harden.
Man, it is what it is, man. You can say that now, but if they were still playing and winning the chip, it wouldn't be as easy to say that now.
But that's the thing, that the whole because you sacrificing depth. The same thing that happened with Miami. That's why they had to go out and get Shane Battier and Ray Allen and Mike Miller and all these guys, because they didn't have the depth at first. They were playing Joel Anthony, bro, and fucking, you know what I'm saying? They was playing a bunch of dudes that like they probably work at fucking like U-Haul or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like they was playing
Wouldn't it be safe to say the acquisition of Durant in 2017 secured them the Golden State 2 more chips? So like, how can other people not look at that and say, look, man, if we got an opportunity to get as much star power, we're gonna do it. We've seen teams win doing it.
The thing about Golden State is they did it the right way. That's why I said they're the only super team to ever be a dynasty, because they did it. Well, I would say super team that wasn't organic, because when they already built it and won it. They had Steph and Clay as the nucleus to that team. They already had Draymond, whether you think he's a great player, a good player, or whatever. They had Draymond. They had Steph and Clay. They had a system. Mark Jackson and Jerry West built that team. They had role players on the team. All they had to do was just add KD to that. That's all they did. They just really just added KD. Like, they had everything else. They already had Steve Kerr, his system or whatever. Mark Jackson built the team. Jerry West got all the players. They just added KD. As opposed to like, the Nets or Miami, they literally just got rid of all their players, had nobody, signed the superstars, and then just filled the roster in with a bunch of fucking
They just didn't get
scrubs.
rid of KD. They had to wipe some people off the roster to get KD, bro. They lost some of their depth too. Whether you feel like they done it right or not, they lost a lot of depth that they had prior.
And
But
that came back to bite them in the ass, because they had enough. They had a little bit of depth left after they got KD. That's what I'm saying, bro. Like coach, and then coaching matters too. Like
But if they don't make that move and they don't win any more chips, so you still feel like they would have been better off just keeping the team they had?
They would have just been better off with KD, and if they wanted, I guess, because if
they were gonna have to lose depth with KD. KD makes too much money. We know that.
Hey, y'all, I'm about to start another video right now, man, because I'm going to work back to work today. So whoever's in the panel is going to have to, drop the link for them to get in, and I'll be at work. You know what I mean? I'm going to explain everything. I explained it last night and everything. So I'm about to cut this video off because I'm about to go. I'll be going to work in about 30 minutes. So I'm just going to go ahead and have the brothers or women come up here and chop it up until it's game time. We're just going to try to strictly stick on the game, please. And then when it's halftime, I will come back and do my analysis in the second half. I'm gonna be watching the game on my phone at work. So I'm just letting everybody know what is going to be done. But salute to everybody who's been listening, who's been chiming in, and everybody. Hey, salute to everybody, man. I'm about to come right back. I ain't gonna start at 12. I'm just gonna go ahead and do it now.
Okay.